Hello everyone. Hopefully it's hell yeah. Okay, so my hotkeys all broke just before my stream and I got them working again. So hey everyone, how are we doing? Glad to see. Oh, we got some familiar dudes here. Give me a sec. I have so much stuff open. Hey, it's my boy Starlight. How we doing, man? Your drawings are really sick, by the way. I thought I'd mention that. I hope, at least I'm pretty sure you're the guy who draws. And if not, then that's embarrassing. But I'm very sure it's you, dude. And it's cool. Glad to see I can make it on when some people are awake. That's awesome. Yeah, so I'm experimenting with some new scheduled times. Just trying stuff out. Because, look, doing Twitch, right? You could go full research mode. You could analytics it. You could try and find the perfect time. But it's all, like, specific to your region or whatever. So I thought, hey, why don't I just try stuff and see how it goes? Because I did a poll last week. And I think it's like half, like of the majority, exactly half of them are in the UK and the other half are in the US. So it's, or Europe, just generally speaking, which UK is in Europe, but so is other places. So, just trying stuff. You'll be excited to see that finally, I don't have to touch physics for a while now. The momentum system works. Let me just double check if that's showing. Okay, sweet. I want to show you guys what okay, this is my life. This is my magnum opus, guys. This is my life's work. Every day of my life has led up to me making this system. And now the system kind of works. Let me just turn off camera smoothing. There we go. So the momentum system works. I actually have a test scene specifically for that that I want to. I think it should demonstrate. I forgot what I called. I think I called it test run. So I have this little test ramp that I can test the system on. So for those who don't know what I've been working on lately, or if you've missed a few things, basically. So the game itself, right? It's like a movement game. You got some parkour mechanics. You got wall running. You've got other stuff like climbing. You've got vaulting, ledge grabbing, and it's just fun movement stuff. I had a lot of these mechanics in for a while, but they were very rough. So I wanted to spend some time to add one more dimension to these mechanics to really bring it. To really kind of enhance them and make them feel more final and add an extra dimension of gameplay to it. So now what will happen is basically like Titanfall or Apex movement. So I have this slide move. Okay, so I'll demonstrate what this scene does in a second. But I do have this slide mechanic in the game. And it used to be very rigid. Like you would press it and you go forward and you couldn't really change directions or anything. And it was very stiff. You wouldn't, like, you see here I slow down a bit at the end. That didn't used to happen. That's new. So I'm very sorry to everyone who's played the current builds. And it's just like this constant speed forward for the slide, because it feels horrible compared to what I've got now. But the cool thing about this slide, as well as Gabby's base movement in general, is that she can accelerate when going down hills. So if you keep an eye on her on her little speedometer in the corner, you'll see that I'll speed up when I go down a hill. It's not a lot when she's just running normally, because I didn't want to overdo it. And she'll also decelerate a bit. So maybe I'll tone that down a little bit. It's a little strong. But with the slide, it's a lot more exaggerated. So if I was to do that with the slide, whee, so I can like go down hills like this. And then if I go down the really steep one, it's like whee, like that. And last stream, I had that kind of working, but the entire thing would only work if you used a specific frame rate. So that's now fixed, thank goodness. I never want to touch physics again, man. It sucks. I hate it. But it works now. And you might have noticed here, I've got these little blue markers that track how far you slide. You can see they're roughly in the same spot, which is also something that was wrong, because what should happen is all of these slopes are the same height. And physically speaking, no matter how, like if they're all the same height, it doesn't matter about the steepness. But if you roll down it and the friction coefficient is like constant, then you should end up around the same spot, no matter how steep the hill is, as long as they're all from the same height. So if I slide from there and then slide from here, then it should get roughly around the same area. Now, if there's any difference, yeah, like those blue markers are overlapping. And I had this problem as well where that wasn't happening before because the equation was wrong. And also, if you did it at different frame rates, she would either go further. Like, if the frame rate was lower, she would have more momentum. And that's now completely fixed. So if I go back to that test scene, I have a little frame rate debug commands here that I can put in. So I've currently got it locked at 20 FPS. And if I slide down this hill, and then if I do that same thing again at 60 FPS, you'll see that she ends up in around the same spot, which is like, oh, you have no idea how hard that was. It's crazy. Because last time, she would go like 10 meters or 20 meters or even more, depending if the frame rate was different. So that is now completely fixed. I'm not touching that code anymore. Yeah, if I touch anything, it's just going to break probably. So I'm going to not work on that today because that's done. I'm going to move on to something a bit simpler. And that is, I've noticed with the momentum, it's cool, like it functions, but I want it to feel a bit better. So what I want to work on today is just some relaxed stuff, just chilling out. We're going to add a bit of FOV effects to the slide, or just the momentum in general, because this also works when running. But I might tweak around with the variables this evening, and also have it so that if you're moving, if you have excess inertia from going downhill, the camera will like zoom out slightly. So it's just going to be simple. I'm just going to like work and pick away at it. I'm going to try and be a bit more attentive to chat this time too, and just take it at a nice slow pace instead of trying to rush through all the work. So yeah, so that's what's good. So I don't know. Yeah, there we go, guys. It works. How are we all doing, by the way? Oh, thank you, guys. Thanks for the encouragement. Look, it wasn't easy. Yeah, physics. Am I right? Sozu, good to see you, man. I hope you're not up past your bedtime, because that'd be bad. We all need. You gotta sleep on time. Get your calcium. Get your bones growing. Noah Spaghetti. Hey, awesome. Glad you could make it. Yeah, I've forgotten the names of some of the people that haven't made it in a while, understandably. And I'm also introverted, so I forget people's names all the time. But glad you can make it. Yeah, so I'm trying to kind of see if I can accommodate better for people's schedules. But I don't know, experimenting. Have you looked at UE5? I have watched, I think I took a peek at their video briefly, but I haven't used it. I haven't tried the demo. I'm sure everyone wants to know my thoughts on it. Okay, we'll talk about UE5. Okay, so for those who don't know, I use Unreal Engine 4 currently, and UE5 is this new thing that is new and shiny and cool. Well, actually, I haven't checked out their website, but this is really nice actually. So yeah, this is all in-engine rendered and stuff, and it's cool. And like the video has this cool little gameplay thing and a boss fight, and they showed off some features as well, like IK systems. I'll scrub through, like, for those who haven't seen it. I don't want to spoil any surprises, but I'll skim through the video. Actually, damn, these screenshots look kind of cool. Where's the video for it? I thought they would put it on the website. I just want to... Is this the video? What is this? Okay, this looks like it might be the video. Except it's on Vimeo. Ew, disgusting. Who uses Vimeo? How do I mute it? Because I don't want to listen to them. I just want to show you guys some of the features. And I'll give you some of my thoughts on it, because it's like, I'm sure everyone wants to know, seeing as I use Unreal. Oh, this is the Vimeo player. Hold on, let me get the YouTube version. This could take forever. UE5. I don't want the IGN thing. I just want the UE5 video. Give me a... I'm trying to look through their channel to find it. It should be this one, right? Oh, that's like 2 hours long. No, it's got to be this one then. So we'll skim through. I'll show you. We'll look at some of the cool new features they got. So they've got it renders on next gen consoles, which is cool. They've also the UI, by the way. I love this. It's so freaking clean. I haven't tried it yet. One of my friends has tried it and he loves it. I haven't had the chance to really play around with it yet. But the minimal, like, not like, because the editor right now, it's like, when did UE4 come out? Like back when Windows 7 was still popping, and it looks it like all the window borders and stuff look very Windows 7. I'm glad that it now looks a bit more modern. This thing, by the way, this nanite thing. Oh man, it overwhelms me. It scares me a lot because it's like, yeah, okay. I don't know if you guys saw that. Those are the polygons. Like, yeah, those are like polygon regions. All that static. Now, the thing that perplexes me, or that, like, people get excited for this stuff, I get really, like, kind of creeped out and scared by this. Because it's like, God, that's a lot of work. Like, I look at that and go, oh, I don't want to make models that are millions of polygons now. Like, it's cool that that's possible, but it's like, why? That's my thing. Because I'm not really too much into realism. Like, it's cool. Me personally, though, I don't really want to do that style. I like sticking to very, well, yeah, I'm more into, like, non-photorealistic, or NPR, as it's called. Non-photorealism. That's my jam. So when I look at stuff like this, it's just like, it's like that JonTron meme. You look at, like, oh, we can render millions of polygons, and it's like, but why? Why would you do that? It's cool that they can, but it's just like, it's overwhelming. It's just like, there's so much detail that it kind of just, like, it's so much for me to process, and it's just like, oh my god, if I want to, like, not use a Megascan asset and create a rock, I'd have to sculpt it all. And yes, it's cool, I can basically I can surpass I can skip over the retopology and stuff, but I don't know, I feel like there's an art to that is going to disappear, right? Because, I don't know, a friend and I have discussed this sort of thing, where it's becoming more and more the case now that things are being simulated, which is cool, that we can simulate these things. But I feel like the more you give it to the software to simulate, the less artistry you can put in, at least in principle. Not that that's necessarily always the case, because I'm sure you can make cool stuff with this, but I feel like to a degree, you know, like when you'd play like a PS3 game, like Last of Us, for example, that game looks fantastic. And I think the thing that is not only cool is how it looks, because I know it's probably aged a little bit now, but to me that game still looks amazing. And it's even cooler because they got it running on a PS3. Like, to me, I kind of appreciate that more than how it looks. It's like how well that runs and the shortcuts and the tricks they use. To me, I find that cooler than how real it can look. Because some people get really close to realism, and it's like, You know, and to get it to run on PS3 or something, they have to retopologize it. And you look at this model that's super detailed, it's like, oh wait, that model's only 64 polys. That's like, to me, that's the stuff I find really cool. But it seems like with the new generation now, that has been like, it looks like it's been completely, like, you don't need to do that anymore, which is faster. And I don't know if that requires more rendering power, but the engine sure seems to look like it takes care of it. But I feel like there's that artistry now that's gone, or it's going to disappear. Like, retopology just won't exist. And I don't know, maybe there's people out there that really love retopology. I'm not one of those people, but it's like, what if someone's really into making highly optimized assets, you know? I mean, sure, yeah, they could still do that, but the demand for it's going to be much smaller. But, you know, it's still really cool. It's just, I like keeping things simple for me. But, oh yeah, there's another thing that they're going to show here with the level. Yeah, so they have this thing now, level partitioning, where I haven't used it too much, but level streaming is used a lot nowadays in games to stream in and out different parts of a map. And now they've basically streamlined it heaps to kind of do it automatically from the looks of it, and they've made it much more powerful. So this whole new section they've loaded in here is in the same map, but it's being so when this character touches the thing, I think it's going to do the transition. So it's not loading a new level, it's like loading in a different part of the same level, like in real time, which is pretty sick. I think that is probably the one feature I've seen here that is going to really change what kind of world in which games can be built. And I think the new Ratchet & Clank game demonstrates that really well. Because that's like, you look at the new Ratchet & Clank game with that portal mechanic that they have, and it's like, the way that they've done it there is hard to do on older hardware. And you might argue that, oh, well, Portal can kind of do it. And it's like, yeah, but I feel like Ratchet & Clank looks like it uses it a bit differently. And maybe this game does too, because you're kind of warping the character into a whole different level in real time. And that wasn't as easy to do on last gen. So to me, that looks like one of the key appeals. Because for me, graphics, they're always going to get better. Oh yeah, that vault, by the way. I like spent like a month developing my own vault system. So I'm kind of like, I really hate the fact that it's as easy as this to do now. But yeah. I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts? Let me read, what do you guys think of all this? Well, yeah, it's like, for solo devs, I'm sure that if you want to do realism, it's much easier now, which is awesome. But yeah, the hardware thing, because a friend of mine tried it the other day, and I asked him, like, okay, because I'm noticing that they're just putting in sculpts into the level, like with no retopo or anything. And it's like, is the engine actually making that run fine on current hardware, or do you actually need better hardware that is going to naturally come as the years go on? Because I wonder how much of this is the engine making this possible, or how much of it is already possible, that they're just giving you a better interface to do it, and also hardware is better now than it was in 2013 or 2014 when UE4 came out. So I don't know, I feel like there's still a huge performance requirement for this stuff probably, but I think it's the fact that graphics hardware is just naturally getting better, which is going to accommodate for that. The IK system in this is also pretty cool. Oh yeah, so for those who don't know what retopology is, it's basically like you get a sculpt that's like millions of polys and you turn it into something that's like way less polygons that can then run in an engine. And what UE5 is doing is that it's kind of making that redundant now, because you can basically just chuck in a million poly model and it'll kind of, because didn't they say they got rid of lodding? Because there was some bit here, okay, so lodding, for those who don't know, is another thing where if you move farther away from the object, or in some cases, if the object takes up less screen space, it'll switch it out for a lower quality version to save performance. So what Unreal have done, apparently, according to this video, is that they've removed the need for it, or they've done it very differently, where LODs are automatically generated. So if you get closer to an object, it'll just automatically populate it with more detail, or it'll just load the full res model, and then it'll smartly de-resolutionize it as you move further away. So I think that's what those nanoid region things, I think that's what they're talking about there. Oh yeah, the animations are pretty cool too. Because that boss fight, Let me go back to the boss, because they animated that in engine too, which I thought was kind of neat. I used to do I used to try doing that sometimes. Back in my Unity days, I used to animate things in Unity because I didn't have a modeling program. So the fact that like doing that is now encouraged and viable is really cool, because I really hate switching between programs. So yeah, 15 million polygons, really? Okay, so someone's just said that this monster is 15 million. Okay, like that's cool, but like why? Why would you need it 15 million? I don't know. I mean, it's cool that you can do that, but if someone were to come up to me and say, "Hey Ray, we want you to make a character that's 15 million polygons," I'd just be like, "Look, man, does it have to be that high? Can I get the same quality with a lower amount?" Like, it's just so much work. It's crazy. But I mean, hey, you know, if people can pull it off, that's awesome, man. That's cool. But me personally, it like overwhelms me, because it's like, wow, it's almost more detail than I know what to do with. Oh, no, it doesn't work on skin meshes? Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, straight from ZBrush, that's right. Also, is this like the blueprint editor now? This looks like similar. Okay, I think this is the audio editor, but I like how it looks. It's way cleaner. It's more sleek. I like how the engine skin as well is way darker as well, right? That nice dark skin. That's what I'm talking about. Because you see now, like, it used to be slightly lighter. Some of you might know, like earlier versions of UE4 had a slightly lighter grey, but now they've darkened it a bit, and now they've darkened it even more. Honestly, I think that's my favorite thing. Out of every feature, it's the fact that the editor skin is, like, actually a dark skin now, which is cool. And yeah, that's right, we get to have that for free, not like you Unity guys who have to pay money for a dark skin. We get that automatically, because it's the cool engine. So that's gonna be good for my eyes. The thing that gets me though is that I wonder how long this took to make. Because like, think about it. Imagine how much work this all would have been. I look at it and I just feel pain. Like, I'm excited, but I also just feel pain for like, wow, that was a lot of work. Like, Jesus. Good on them, but my god, I would be so tired if I had to make all that for a demonstration. But yeah, so am I going to use UE5? I'm sure that's what everyone wants to know. Probably not. Mainly because... Okay, here's the thing. It's been my experience that, like, if I'm working on something, if something can go wrong at any point, it usually does. I found. So if I'm working on something, and then if the possibility exists for me to port my project and for it to break, then I guarantee you it'll probably happen. It's like Murphy's Law, right? Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So to avoid that risk, I'm probably just going to stick with what works, because I haven't had any issues with UE4 so far. And if it ain't broke, then it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll keep using it, unless there's a really specific reason I need to use 5. Like, if 5 introduces some feature that I need for either development or for shipping, then sure, I'll upgrade. But if I don't, and if I can still do the work I need to with UE4, then I'm going to stick with 4. And it's also... you also have to consider like community support and stuff, because UE5 isn't ready yet, of course. It's been public testing right now. But it's like not, there's not going to be as much resources on UE5 because it hasn't been around as long yet. So for me, it's like, all right, well, more people have done forum posts and stuff about UE4. So I'm probably going to have a better time with that than trying to learn a new thing. And it's also been my experience, like, luckily, I don't think it's a huge, like, in terms of usability, I don't think it's a huge change, it looks like. Like, some of these menus look familiar to me, right? But if it was completely new, like the interface was entirely rearranged, then I would have more apprehension, because every time I've seen someone try and switch software mid-project, it's never worked, like, ever. So, luckily, though, this seems to look pretty familiar, but... Again, if I can reduce the risk of things going wrong, then I will. And if that means sticking with UE4, then I'm sticking with UE4. I guess maybe it would be cool. I mean, I don't know what I'd do, though. Because, like, I think the things that UE5 does well is mostly graphical, and I'm not really up to that part where I'm worrying about graphics yet. Right? Like, I don't think it'd be a good use of time right now. Maybe when I do an art test later, sure, maybe I'll try it, because the fact that they've got an integrated mega scans menu is appealing, because I actually want to experiment with some of that stuff to create assets with. So if that makes it easier, then maybe I'll give it a shot. But at the moment, I'm just still working on core gameplay, and I don't think there's much UE5 will do that I cannot already do with UE4. So maybe in like a few months time, maybe we'll do like a little UE5 experiment. But for now, I try and stay on task. But yeah, like playing with those assets and learning how these are all rendered would be interesting. Anyway, so let's get on to the work, shall we? I've just been sitting here talking about UE5. Okay, so I want to work on camera stuff. So I need to go to... I have a component for this. I'll go to the Feline player character. So I've tried to clean this up as much as possible. I can't actually... I might have to clean this up a bit. Because I did some cleanup with the camera shake. It used to look like this, where there was heaps of branches. And now I've made it with the camera shake, where it just selects... It does one of these instead, and it looks a bit cleaner. So I might redo this whole section for today. And make it clean and add some new parameters. But yeah, it's interesting because it feels like maybe a lot of you guys watching and a lot of my friends certainly get really excited when new software comes out, and they always go in and test it. Me though, I don't know. I just don't get as excited. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. Like, Unreal Engine 5 looks cool, but I honestly would not set a time to play around with it right now. Mainly because in my head it's like, okay, I don't really... Like, I'm looking at the work I have to do, and it's like, I can do this work without UE5, so I'm going to do it. I don't know, I don't really tinker around. New tech doesn't excite me as much, because I feel like in my head, I already know what I want. And it's like, okay, I know what I want to do, and I just want to stick to the plan and do it. And if new technology comes out, I usually don't care unless there's some specific benefit that I will really take advantage of. Like if they did some new thing with their movement component that had like automatic momentum or something, then sure, maybe I'd jump in and try it. Or if I needed the levels to load a certain way and it didn't work in UE4, and if UE5 could do it, then sure. But I don't think anything I'm planning to do is not possible with UE4. So, I mean, yeah, that's sort of where I sit on it. Because, like, I think it was the same thing with when the new Blender 2.8 came out, everyone kept asking me, like, oh, are you going to use the new Blender? And it's like, I mean, I can, like, I'm fine, I guess. I don't really, like, I'm doing fine with 2.7. And granted, 2.8 is way better than 2.7, because mine, I have it on Steam, so it just auto-updates whenever. But I didn't think it was a necessary, like, yes, it's better, the usability-wise, but I don't think it would have stopped me doing my work if I was stuck with 2.7. But yeah. But maybe if there's a particular thing I'd like to try out, then sure, I'll give it a go. But for now, let's focus on one thing at a time. So I'm just going to try and make an attempt to clean up this. So this node here, this controls like the camera on the player. So this basically makes this is checking where, like, because I have the custom code on the camera that lets it move. So if I like run on a wall, the camera will tilt. If I slide, the camera lowers. You know, that sort of thing. So it's just got some custom states. So I want to streamline this a bit. I did hear that the new there's some new lighting system too, I think, isn't there? In UE5. Apparently that's like really good from what I've heard. So I don't know, maybe if there's a specific lighting thing that I need, then maybe. But I'm curious how you could push the new... I guess if there's one thing I want UE5 to do that would make me interested in it, it'd be if it allows you to create easier NPR stuff, like non-photorealism stuff. Like, if I can make an anime-looking environment easier with UE5, then that would hook me in. But I haven't seen anything yet that demonstrates that to me. Because doing NPR usually doesn't rely on high poly counts or even like global illumination. Like, usually if you're doing NPR, you don't want it to just be generated GI. You kind of want to manually set colors and light and bouncing and stuff. Like, you usually want a lot of control over that rather than it looking realistic. So I don't know if there's tools for that kind of thing in UE5 where I can control how stylized something looks, then yeah, sure, maybe I'll be more interested. Is Feline going to have motion blur? I think it did. It did at some point, but I've turned it off, and it's probably going to stay off. Mainly because the motion blur looks horrible with the character, because the character's got the limited animation style, and the motion blur heavily tries to blur the character, and it just looks really wrong. So no, I don't think I'm going to have motion blur. I think that's just going to stay as a no. As not a feature, probably. If I am going to do motion blur, it's not going to be that kind of motion. Like, I know I want to do like things like smear frames on the animations, but that's probably the most amount of motion blur you're probably going to see. So hold on, give me a second. So this node here, this is like referencing a custom function I wrote, and it basically has a bunch of parameters. So it has a vector, it has a arm length, it has rotation, and it basically just sets the camera, because you know like the spring arm component that third-person characters have? It basically sets those parameters. That's what the function does. And I want to change the parameters based on certain states. So I'm going to copy these branches. And we're going to turn these into select nodes instead, because this is like, it can look like this with select nodes, and it just looks it's like packed down and way simpler. So we're going to try and do that. So instead of having like 5 set camera offset nodes, because I've got one here, I've got one here, I've got one here, I've got one here, and one here. So instead of having like 5 or 6, I'm just going to have one, but the values it picks will be select. So I'll use like a select vector, and then it all just executes once and then just intelligently picks what parameters based on booleans like this. So that's kind of what I want to do with this. And then once I've cleaned it, I then want to add in that extra little parameter so that if there's inertia, widen the FOV slightly. So that's the plan. Project Feline 2. Maybe. If I get to make a Project Feline 2, then I guess by that point I'd probably use UE5. Or maybe UE6 if that's a thing by then. I think I reckon in like 6 years, it's probably going to come to the point where you'd need to upgrade because compatibility. Like if you want to ship to new consoles, it's very likely that they're just going to stop supporting UE4 by that point. So I think there's a time when it's like, okay, you kind of have to update now. And I usually wait till the last moment. And I've never had any problems doing it that way. Whereas conversely, I've known a lot of people who upgrade, like they're the early adopters, and they kind of get punished for it because heaps of stuff will go wrong. And there's not as many resources that can help you fix stuff. So yeah, I usually leave it to the last minute and go like, okay, I'm going to wait until this thing is in the oven for a while, and then when it's at its prime, I'll upgrade. After everyone's made like tutorials and forum posts on it and stuff, because then I can come in and basically stand on the shoulders of the support that everyone's already put in. Motion blur has no place in a stylized game. Well, I don't necessarily agree. I think in my particular style, maybe not, but there's other styles I've seen where it could easily be used appropriately. Alright, let me think for a sec. Because what I need to do... Okay, so this is all part of a struct. Yeah, so it's just a variable type that has a struct, and if I split it, it has all these properties. So I need to basically... We'll work backwards. So what did I do over here? I've got another bit here that checks these sort of structs. So it checks wall running, sliding. Okay, so we might start backwards from there. Yeah, so we'll go wall ride, sliding, ledge grabbing. Yeah. So we'll do a check. So yeah, so I'm just gonna try and like redo that function. So it's gonna look kind of primitive at the moment, but you'll see what this turns into. So if traversing surface, we want to select, I have like a bunch of variables here. So yeah, surface, okay. So remember, these are all structs that have all these values embedded, such as socket offset, arm length, rotation, FOV, and stuff, which is all stuff from the camera boom. So that controls like how far away the camera is, the rotation. So I'm basically controlling all of the camera properties that are relevant with one variable, which I set up. Like if you're wondering how I'm doing that, that's kind of like a, I'll have to explain that another time. I've put in the work already to make this a custom variable type in my project, and that's how I'm doing it. So I've set this all up ages ago, but I'm just making some tweaks to it to improve it. Oh yeah, like in racing games, right? Like motion blur, I think fits probably, it's a good idea for racing games normally. But did they, hold on, why are we talking about Guilty Gear? What, did they use motion blur in Guilty Gear? I don't know. I haven't played it. I know I've talked about the game before. I remember when I did my video about, what was it? It was like the anime shader. I think I referenced, because I was researching their GDC talk, but I haven't actually played it. But I think I remember sharing the video somewhere, and I was like, oh, Raymond's a Guilty Gear fan. And I'm like, should I tell him? I actually haven't played it, but I've researched the art style. I don't know. I think it's like a fighting game, isn't it? I mean, I haven't played a lot of fighting games. The last fighting game I played was like Dragon Ball Z, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 when I was like 9 or something on the Wii. I really want to find a copy of it. I had a dream last night that I had a copy of that game still. I don't know why I traded it, but I had a dream last night that I still had it. I don't know. I can't believe I remembered that. That's crazy. So let me just check. So grind camera. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, so what this is kind of doing, this logic, and this is how it's going to propagate for the rest of the states. It does one exec pin to set camera offset, and then it sets the offset data. It then checks, hey, are we traversing surface? If we are, use this. If not, look for a different set of parameters. So this one will be grinding. Or maybe, what order did I do it over here? I think I did traversing surface, then I did sliding, then I did grabbing ledge. Yeah, okay, so I'll just copy paste it from my other thing. So then we'll do if is sliding, and if that's true, then we'll get I think I have a camera boom sliding properties, which I haven't set this variable to anything yet, but it basically means if I want the camera to pan back while I'm sliding, I can do that. But I think I've turned it off for the moment, but it'll pick this, and then it'll then select something else. If this is still false, it'll then look for... Now, I know you might be looking at this and saying, Ray, you could use an enum, but the thing is I haven't set one up. Because I think in Unity, you can just define an enum and use it. But in Unreal, you have to make a data file in the project to define the enum, and I just haven't been bothered. So I'm just going to do it this way for now. If it becomes a problem later, then sure, I'll make it an enum, but I haven't had an urgent reason to do that yet. So it's going to just use select instead of an enum for now. Because you could use select and have this, instead of true false, it's just a bunch of enums. But look, I have other stuff to do. I just can't be bothered. You gotta pick your battles in game development, I always say. Alright, so we're gonna check for grind. I think it's ledge grabbing we check for next. Yes, so we're gonna check ledge grabbing. So yeah, if I'm grabbing a ledge, I can also set another camera state. So I can move the camera up slightly, which I was thinking to do. Camera boom ledge grab. So that will make that true, and then if that's still false, we'll select another one, and I think this one is going to be grinding. Yeah. So if grinding, and then if that's true, select that. And then if that's all false, if it goes to this one, it means that we're just in our normal movement state. So let me just clean this up a bit. Give me a sec. But yeah, it's just basically a fancier if-else state, more or less, that looks slightly cleaner than using branches. But I thought I might as well try and improve this a little bit now while I can. Nah, dude, look, because then in the enum, because the thing is, what you don't get right is that I have a lot of movement states, and not only do I have to make the enum, but I have to configure the enum to set the appropriate state. And I have like 8 different modes, and they're all like, look, it's not important, it's not urgent. Doing it this way will be fine for the moment, so. Because it's not just creating the enum, that's easy, but configuring it to know what state it's currently in. Like if you saw the movement code, man, you'd go like, oh yeah, that's kind of a pain. So, just taking the path of least resistance. Just want to make, hold on, I'm trying to think the best way to organize the nodes. Okay, this looks pretty clean. I might just move these a bit closer together to take up less space on the graph. There we go. Trying to move these as close together as I can. Yeah. And then I need another. There's one. Okay, so then there's the normal state, and that will happen. Because this is what this is the code. This is what it used to look like, and even I get lost. I can't make what of what here. But there's a specific case where. So, have I done traverse? Okay, so traversing surface is true, but it's. Hold on, I gotta modify that actually. Because then there's these little bits, and I'll explain what these do in a sec. I'll have to copy all of this, I think. Hopefully, yeah. So then there's this, and that's for, what is this for? This is for the if traversing surface, okay. But wait, there's an extra, okay, I have to make sure that this is also plugged in too. So, I'll explain what this is in a sec. Oh, thanks, IT Dandy. Look, man, I'm a bit OCD. I'm sure I've got to have like some undiagnosed obsessive compulsive something. So I don't know, I have this weird thing where if it's not as tidy as I can make it, then I failed. It has to be clean, right? Because it's just, I don't know, it just relaxes me. It just makes everything kind of better. So I don't always get the chance to clean it up though. Like a few streams ago when I was figuring out the physics stuff, I was kind of burning up inside because I had to work so quickly that I didn't have time to organize stuff until afterwards. And I know it was annoying everyone because it's like, I know the nodes are messy, but there's no point in cleaning them if they aren't ready. So this stuff though, I know that this will probably work, so I can go ahead and clean them while I work. But if you're doing experimental and iterative stuff, it's best to just do the work first and then clean it after normally. Oh, thanks for redeeming Hydrate, Mr. Brown Natch. Thanks you. I have not tried Graph Formatter. I'm assuming that's like a plugin. I try to avoid using plugins if possible. Mainly because, like, the more plugins you have, the more at risk you kind of become of the project crashing or something like that. Or if it builds wrong or something. So, I haven't tried Graph Formatter. I have my own rules of how I like things formatted anyway. So I feel like if I was to try Graph Formatter, I wouldn't agree with how it... If it was like an automatic thing where you click it and it just does it, I think I would have disagreements over how it cleans it. I have my own little rules. Like, for example, if objects are being used, you know, keep this line straight, and this one, it's like, all right, well, that can kind of go below and that one can go on top, so it looks kind of centered. And then, like, in, you know, if I have a huge comment bubble, it's got to be like 3 squares away from the other comment bubbles. Like, I've got a bunch of these little rules that I have in my head, and it's like, I don't think a plugin is gonna know about that stuff with me, and I'm probably not gonna be happy with it. I'd imagine. Collapsing it in functions? Well, hold on. Do you mean collapsing it in graphs or collapsing functions? Sorry. Like collapsing graph nodes or functions, because those are different. I only ever use functions in certain cases, mainly if I need something that is only there to produce an output of some kind with inputs. If this stuff, for example, doesn't really... It's only getting used once, and it's only outputting to one event, so no, I wouldn't make that a function. If it's something that is used a lot, then yeah, I'll make it a function. Like if it's like a... Hold on, let me adjust my headphones. Sorry, my cable gets loose sometimes and my audio goes out of phase. But if it's like... Let me think. So if it's like the way I think of functions is like factories. They exist to produce something, and it's usually a number or a vector or a variable of some kind. And that's all they do. I usually don't use functions for exec things. It's only for maths. Like, that's usually what I use functions for. So none of this here is maths. It's not calculating stuff, and it's not being used in more than one place. So those, for me, are the criteria that I've got for functions. Like, for example, the wall run script I have, it has a function that determines the floor angle and the eligibility of whether you can run on it, and that's used in a few different places, so that I would make a function. But this, no. This stuff I wouldn't make a function. But yeah, I reckon, like, if you want to know more about that stuff, I'm probably not the guy, because it's been a while since I've done any research on best practices, but I remember learning this stuff from some video. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm sure if you like type in blueprint best practice, maybe actually it might have been the documentation. Maybe I learned this from. I don't know, but I learned it somewhere, and they'll probably have a bit more of a comprehensive guide on that sort of, on when to make functions and when not to make functions, when to make custom events, and when to, yeah, basically what's appropriate to do what. It's just been a while since I've looked it up because I've just been so busy. Now, this number, I'm just trying to figure out where this should go, because yeah, so this kind of has to go on this first bit here. And it needs to, let me just double check. Yeah, so, let me like copy paste that so I can see it. So, camera offset, so that goes here, that goes there, that goes there, and then that. Okay, so I was gonna say, so what this does, because this is for the wall run, this little state, this is the camera moving while wall running. So it moves, it angles away from you so you can kind of see what's near the ground. That's what this is going to do. Now, the reason I've broken it and added these things to it, so I think these are macros. And the reason why is, well, I guess maybe you could make these functions. Can functions have inputs? I'm not sure. But what these essentially do is, it takes an input and then it does some math to it to localize the vector more or less, and then it outputs either a vector or a rotator. And I've used this just twice here, because what this is going to do, right, is because you're wall running, right? You go on a wall and it's on like the left side of you, let's say. So let's say I'm here, the wall's here, and the camera needs to tilt away from the wall. Now, how does it know where, because it tilts away from the wall, right? How does it know where the wall is? Well, this is how, this little macro. So essentially, instead of having two states, because if I did it without these, I'd have to make two of these variables and have it so that if wall is left, then use this preset, and then if it's right, then use that preset. So I'd have like a whole other preset with the socket offset and stuff. Because what this socket offset does is that it moves it like 70 degrees to either the left or to the right, depending on whether the wall is on the left or right of you. And that's kind of what this does. So it takes the offset in this variable, which is 70, and then it either makes it positive or negative depending on the wall, and then it applies it. So that way I don't need to have two of these, I just have one of these and I just modify this number. That's kind of what that does. It's just kind of smarter to do it that way, instead of making it a whole other state where if wall is on left, if wall is on right. So it's just the one thing here instead. So it's basically like, yeah, taking one of these off and then doing like modifying it times -1 or 1, more or less, to determine whether to go left or right of the character. So yeah, so considering that, because yeah, macros can do temporal functions, so maybe these should really be functions instead of macros, but I don't know. I made these a while ago. Like that's the thing as well with programming, is that you always learn new stuff as you go, and it's like you could spend the time to go back to your old stuff and make it perfect, but also like you're gonna die someday, and maybe you don't have time to make it exactly correct. So, you know, sometimes you just have to settle and be like, oh well, you know, I would do it differently next time, but of course you will. Like that's always, that never goes away. So it's like, you know, might as well just use it, and then next time if you need to do it, then make it better. But if it works now, like, because if you try and fix it all, like, because that's the thing too, because I know I'm fixing stuff up now, but I try to be very careful about not overdoing it too much. Because if you do, then it's like you don't get anything new done, because you're just fixing stuff. And if it's already working, but it's just not working the perfect way you want it, it's like, there's certain cases where it needs to work perfectly for me, but I try to be very careful when I notice I'm doing that, because sometimes it's a waste of time, sometimes, very rarely, it isn't. But most of the time it's like, oh, this actually, I could, like, because there's a thing in my movement script, like the enum thing, right? I could make it enum based instead of doing this, but it's like, it's not really going to affect anything. Like, yes, the code will be more perfect, but I'm sure in a year's time I'm going to find an even better way. So it's like, what's the point? Might as well just do the best you can at the time and then move on to the next thing, because it just call it finished. Like, if like, not the entire thing finished, but just the particular part you're doing, right? Like, let's say you've got a function that's like these macros. I could turn these into functions, but it's like they work fine as macros. Next time, if I need to do it, I'll make them functions. But you know, there's limits to how many things you can get perfect, I suppose. And if you try too hard, you kind of fall into the perfectionism trap. Anyway, so I can get rid of this now. So I think there's another state that I need to look at too, because there's the ADS mode. I think everything else is pretty straightforward. There's the ADS mode, and then there's just the normal mode. And yeah, there's a lot of complicated... Oh man, I'm sure there's a way I could clean this up, but I don't know. We'll just I'll just take it easy with this. So I've done this bit. I'll probably do this bit next. This is the ADS camera. Now you might be saying, Ray, ADS, Why would you have ADS in your game? And I think I developed it ages ago as like as a test back when they were shooting in the game, and I kind of just left it in. But I'm using it at the moment as a fun, like it's actually kind of comes in handy. Because if I'm testing something and I need to rotate the character without me having to move her, I can just hold the ADS button and she rotates. And it's actually kind of handy. And it's also given me the chance to experiment with camera angles. Because I'm currently in my head, just while I'm doing other stuff, I'm kind of toying with the idea of an over-the-shoulder cam like this, or just leaving it as a normal, just a normal third-person camera. But I don't know, the over-the-shoulder is kind of nice because you kind of get a bit closer to the character, which might be cool. So I don't know, that's something I'm going to experiment with later, but it's nice that I'm able to kind of just with a mouse click switch back and forth between those two cameras while I'm testing stuff just to see how it feels. So that does come in handy, so I'm going to keep that in and adapt it to this new bit of code. Oh, assembly, dude. No, dude. Never go full assembly. Never. Never go assembly. Oh, actually, I had a friend who tried that once. He tried learning assembly. And I was like, dude, why are you doing this to yourself, man? What? You don't deserve this. You don't deserve this pain. And he's like, no, man, I gotta learn assembly. And then I think he did it for like a week and then gave up. But anyway, so traversing surface, sliding. Okay, so what I'll do is we'll move all this across. And you can get rid of that stuff now. We'll make another one of these. We'll get this is aiming, and then if it's true, it'll use this number. So we'll need to split that, and I have to move all this over a bit. I'll work. I know it's a bit wonky. I'm going to clean it up in a second. Let me just make sure that the logic all fits. So on my old bit of code, I think what was it like? Okay, do I have everything? Hold on, I hope I didn't miss any nodes. Something looks... Oh, maybe... No, I think I did miss... No, maybe I didn't. I don't know. It's so dense, I can't tell, really. But I think that only applies... Okay, so it's just this little number, and then everything else... Okay, sweet. So that number applies to offset Y. So I split this vector as well. And then I just take in offset X, offset Z. Did I do that for this as well? I think, hold on. Okay, that hasn't been split. Because sometimes I split vectors and sometimes I don't. So I think this vector is fine. And then I plug that in there, plug that in there, there, and then boom. Now I'll try and straighten it a bit, clean it a bit, make it tidy as I can. I mean, I don't like when lines overlap, but sometimes it's needed to have them overlap than to try and put them around. So sometimes I'll look at it and be like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fine. An assembly course. Yeah, no, dude. I myself haven't studied it, but it doesn't sound... I don't know, man. I've heard some... It doesn't sound very fun. It doesn't sound fun at all. Also, I just checked. Holy crap, we got like 50... Hey, we got like 50 guys here. Thanks for coming, my boys. I'm just trying out like new stream times and stuff, and I wasn't sure, like... I don't know, because I want to stream at times when there's more people actually available. So it's cool that I'm up to like 49 viewers. I think my last few streams have been at 30, so that's awesome. Like the more people who come, the more it's like, okay, this stream time is definitely a keep sort of thing. So if you want this slot to stay, get some of your game dev inclined friends to come and watch. It's funny, actually, I did a poll like a few days ago, because I am thinking to start working on my next video soon. It's all... I still think I need a bit of time, but it's in my head now, and I'm starting to try and think about what the video is going to be. So I did a poll asking, like... Because honestly, I don't watch devlogs, like, personally. I don't like them, even though I make them. So I don't understand why people watch them, really. Like, I really don't get it. So I was like trying to ask around and be like, why do people watch this stuff? I don't understand. And there was like a bunch of people who had like never programmed before responding, saying, I have never programmed, but I find this stuff interesting. I'm like, why? Oh, that's so weird, but that's cool. It's cool that people enjoy it, but I just don't get it, because I don't know, every time I watch, like, the stuff I watch on YouTube is it's either like a documentary or it's like something like funny. That's like my two boxes, or it's like a meme, like a 2-second Among Us meme video or something. So when I look at the videos I make, it's like when if someone else like makes videos like that, and if I watch it, I feel like in my heart like shock, because it's like I need to work. Like that's what goes through my head. If I see a video of someone else working, I go, what am I doing? Why am I watching this? I need to work. And then I just forget about it and then work. And then I end up, that's why I don't watch devlogs, because I don't know. Because I look at them and I go, man, why am I watching this guy? I should be working. And if there's something I need, because maybe people watch devlogs because it's like, it helps them with a problem or something. Usually I haven't found a lot of devlogs that actually help me with problems I have normally. Usually that stuff is like in GDC talks, so I'll watch that maybe, or like the Halo Vidocs or something, but I usually don't find it in devlogs. So yeah, that's why I find it perplexing, not only that people watch my devlogs, but people who've never made games watch them too. It's just weird, but I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. It's just, I don't get it. I just don't get it, but hey, thanks. I appreciate it. It makes you want to work too, Louis? That's cool, Dark Lord Louis. Well, I guess for me, it doesn't just make me want to work, but I feel like a sense of dread, because it's like, I don't know, it activates my fight or flight response, I think, because I feel like, oh, like if I'm not working, I'm losing right now, sort of thing. That's sort of the feeling I get. Whether that's a good thing, I don't know. I don't know if that's healthy, but I'll like, if I see like a thumbnail that's interesting and it happens to be a devlog, I'll watch like the first 30 seconds, and then I have this overwhelming need to stop watching and work. So yeah, because I look at it and it's like, you know, I just have this urge. I don't know how to really describe it, but that's kind of how it feels. Like, it's not a good feeling though. Like it's not good because I have the urge to work already, but it's like that. It's like that competitive sort of urge in a sense, which I don't think it's necessarily good for me, at least, because it's like that. Oh, this person's done more work and I don't feel good enough, sort of urge, and I don't like feeling that way. So I try to just keep myself self-sufficient and just watch content that doesn't make me feel like crap. So yeah, new devlog drop. Look, I can't promise any times yet. It will exist. Oh, Meals on Wii, I just noticed you're in here. Hey man, how you doing? It's been a while. My boy Meals in here. But yeah, no, I can't say when it's coming out. All I can tell you is that it will exist in the future. Like, I never said I was going to stop. It's just, I'm just trying to figure out, like, how to, like, what to say. It's the blank canvas sort of problem. Because I've done work, and then I think about, okay, now let's make a video. And then my head just goes, well, I don't know, where do I begin? What do I say? So I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'm sure I will. But it's probably not going to start production for a while still. But I'm starting to... The thought of coming back is circulating. Because I haven't thought about YouTube in a while, and now I'm thinking about it again. So I reckon maybe the next few months, probably, for sure. Alright, let me just think, because I've just been thinking about videos now and not the code. So I think, yeah, this is good. That's good. What else? Okay, this is the bit that I really don't like, that I'm going to have to implement, is all this stuff. So let me get all these numbers, because this This is, well, I'll explain what this is in a second. Let me just copy paste it first. So what this is, it's basically, you know how when I move, you notice when I move left and right, Gabby is not in the center of the screen. The camera kind of moves a bit in front of her when she's moving sideways. That's actually on purpose. That's code doing that. And that's what this code does. And it looks very messy, but it basically gets the right vector of the camera and then the forward vector of the... It basically gets, hey, are we moving sideways relative to the camera? We are? Okay, move the camera to the left or the right, depending on which way we're moving relative to the camera. That's basically what this does. It's just I forgot where all these plug into, so I'll have to make another one of these. So I think that these must go here, I think. I'm pretty sure. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yep. So these seem to just go in whatever corresponding slots. So I love these little reroute nodes, they're brilliant. It's just, I don't know what that bottom tick box is. Oh, I know it. Okay, this is for the select node. Okay. So while I'm here, I don't want this sticking out. This looks horrid. So I'm going to try and fix this a little bit. That's an interesting... Marcelin's got an interesting perspective. That's interesting, yeah. Watching what other people can do so I can learn. Yeah, I guess that's the kind of stuff I like too. It's just I don't really find a lot of things, that stuff that I want to do. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like over the last few years since I've been on YouTube, I feel like devlogs have kind of been... They're not the same anymore. Like, devlogs from like up until 2018 were really chill. I watched a few of them, like Thin Matrix, to get inspiration and stuff. But then at some point in like 2018, 2019, I started seeing an uprise of these really hyper sensationalized, like, I made a game in one day sort of videos. And it's like, me and my friend meme about it, because it's just, I'm so sick of seeing those, because I don't learn anything from them, because that's not what a real project looks like when you're making it. That's what frustrates me about a lot of like these sort of clickbaity ones, where it's like, I made like Minecraft in one day and stuff, because it's like, I don't want to do that stuff. Like, I don't want to make a day-long project. Like, I've spent years doing that already. Like, for those who know me personally, you'll know that I've made like at least 10 or 20 or so odd little projects, little mobile games, little game jam titles. And like, it gets to a point where you get really tired of that stuff, because you're not really, you just don't feel like you're not reaching your potential. That's, to me, what it felt like. So yeah, I tend to get really like, when I see like another video that's like, oh, I remade like Resident Evil in 2 days. It's just like, it's just not practical for me to watch, because I want to spend more time on my games. And when you spend 1 day on a game compared to years, it's a different journey and different rules apply, because there's a certain method that you do when you go about a smaller game, like a game jam project. There's a certain attitude. There's a certain mindset you got to be in for a game jam game. But when you're doing a project that's more than that, like, it's not just a casual, like, if it's more than a month long, there is different rules. And I don't see a lot of people talking about those rules, because everyone's all making these very short-term mobile games, like only spending a few weeks on them. And it's like, my journey's different. Like, I can't learn anything from these, because the attitudes they have here only work in these smaller projects. Because when you do bigger projects, like, there's so many things that change. Like, the reasons you do it are different. The schedule is different. The resources and budget and time constraints are different. The way you have to manage the project, well, that's what it all comes down to. All of those variables mean that the way you have to manage the project is different. And the way you manage the project is kind of what defines it, I believe. Or it defines development, is how it's managed. At least that's been my experience while doing Project Feline. And the thing is as well, because I speak from experience, because I've done small games, heaps. I've done like 20 of them. And I've learned so much more doing a bigger project than I did any of those smaller ones, because there's so much, it's a different game. Like, it's a different rule set that applies. And I'm interested in the bigger picture stuff. That's the stuff I'm interested in. So yeah, like unless I find a devlog that does that, I haven't found, not that I go looking necessarily, but if I ever get curious, all I end up seeing when I'm like in my recommendations and stuff is just like these really short things, like remaking Cyberpunk in 2 days. And it's just like, it's just not practical. Like, it's not practical for me to watch this. I'm not going to learn anything that will apply to me here. And I don't know if I'm the only one that has this sentiment, because I don't know, maybe if you're like starting and beginning, sure, that stuff is actually a good place to start from. Doing small games is great, but I've been doing this for like 5-6 years, and it comes to a point where it's like, you know, I kind of getting tired of the small stuff. Like, I really want to try something that's actually really hard, and yeah, it's really hard and it's kind of painful, but I get way more captivated by the hard problems, like, of developing a bigger game. It just engages me more at the level I'm at, or the stage I'm at. So anyway, Meals says, got a lot of viewers tonight. Yeah, we do. Oh wow, it's up to 50. That's crazy. Thanks, by the way, for everyone who's sticking around. Again, like, this is great because I'm experimenting with new stream times at the moment, and the more people who show up, like, if it's, you know, if there's growth, then it's like, okay, I'll keep this time slot. I'm going to try another time slot next week. I'll talk about it more at the end of the stream. But I'm going to try streaming next week, Wednesday, at 4 a.m. UTC. I don't know what that'll be in your time zone, but I'm just using UTC because it's literally universal time. So I'm going to try one next week, Wednesday at 4 a.m. And the one I did today is at 9 a.m. UTC. So I'm going to try that on a Wednesday next week and see how that goes. I'm going to do 2 in one day. That's right. So that's what I'm going to try next. So it seems like the 9 a.m. UTC one seems to be a good idea so far. So thanks to everyone who's come to stick around and watch me do some work and relax. Oh, Dark Lord, thanks for sticking around, man. You take care. Sorry, I've missed a few chat messages here. How have I been? I've been all right. I've been tired. I'm actually, you know, I gotta take care of myself better. But when don't I, right? I guess that's just my status quo. I always just need to take better care of myself. My sleep schedule's slipping lately, and my exercise schedule is non-existent now. So yeah, but you know, I'll be okay. I just gotta keep working. Do you have the intention to have voice acting? Kind of. Nothing fancy, but I haven't really been thinking about that right now. I just have other stuff I need to think about first, but I feel like it's not gonna, like, I've personally tried voice acting before, and voice directing and scripting. I've tried branching dialogue. I've tried that all before. It's a lot more work than it looks like. And, like, I'm curious how good of a story I can tell without dialogue. Because if I can pull that off, it not only is that cheaper, but if the substance of the story is still the same, then it's like, that's cool, because I've made a better product with fewer resources. And I don't know, there's something about that just seems kind of like a good idea. Because then I don't have to spend as much money, like, or time as well, like just writing scripts, dialogue and stuff. But, you know, don't take this as a promise, by the way, because ultimately my plans change really frequently. But at the moment, I haven't thought about doing voices in the traditional sense, but I have thought about including voices in other kinds of ways that doesn't necessarily involve dialogue and scripts and stuff. But that's all I can really say. Like, I've just had other stuff on my plate at the moment to worry about, so I haven't really been like I try to think ahead, but also when I do that, I get overwhelmed, and it's because there's so much stuff I have to do, and it's like sometimes I gotta unplug and be like, hey man, just take it a step at a time. Don't worry about this yet. A time will come. So yeah, but I've put a bit of thought into it, but I can't necessarily promise anything. But also, yeah, that's another thing. I want to also avoid that because localization is also expensive. And it's like, is one thing to get your friends to do it, but that's usually not a good idea. And like, if I wanted to do localization, I'd really want to do it properly. But that's money, right? So if I can not spend that money, that'd be cool. So we'll see. But, I think those things, like, I have a bit of a different perspective on those things when it comes to, like, including production value, right? Because I guess to kind of preface the idea, how many of you grew up in, like, the PS2 era? Like, I'm sure probably I think a lot of people here have, right? Waking up at, like, 5 a.m., booting on the PS2, playing some, like, Ratchet and Clank, or, like, playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like, okay, all right, so we got some PS1 guys here, we got some PS2 guys. Sweet. So I have this idea that if games were fun, even when games looked that basic, then maybe what they look like isn't important. That's sort of what I think. Like, if I still play, like, I'm trying to 100% I have a big game library, and I'm also a perfectionist, and those two things don't mix very well. But I'm playing through the Ratchet and Clanks. I've been doing it for years now. I finished Ratchet and Clank 1 last year, but then my save file got deleted. Thanks, Henry. But then I've been playing Ratchet and Clank 2 on challenge mode, trying to 100% that. And I really enjoy those games. I know they're like 15 years old, but I still really enjoy them. And it's like, if I still enjoy these things, and if the dialogue is like real, like it's really rough compared to the stuff you can do now. Like, the cutscenes aren't extravagant, the voice acting isn't extravagant. It's very simple, but it's still really, really cool. Like, it's still like, I feel really into those games and really immersed in it. Like, I feel immersed in them, right? So it's like, maybe things like production value aren't that important. Like, if I can make someone as immersed with a stickman, then maybe I don't need to go all out in every area. Granted, there are still things that I value, that I want. Like, of course, I'm not making a game with a stickman, because my big thing is characters, of course. So that's something I know is in. But, when it comes to other periphery things that aren't super extra essential, then it's like, I feel like it's interesting to try and work with a small resource pool, or like put these constraints of like, how can I tell a story with only movement? Like, because Journey, right? Like, that's a common example. Journey tells a story without any dialogue, and it's a good story. And it's like, if it's good and if it didn't need that stuff, then is the stuff like is that really important if you can make good work without it, right? So that's kind of my attitude. Because it's just, I just find it interesting. Like, if I could get immersed by a game with like Ratchet and Clank graphics, which aren't really fantastic by today's standards, then it's like, maybe I don't need extravagant graphics, because this game was fun without that. So, is it, yeah, that's sort of where I'm coming from. So that's something I try and keep in mind, because the more you try and pull things off, like if you want to do dialogue or those sorts of things, like, people don't realize that stuff's like, that's really hard. Like, it's time consuming and really difficult, and it's more difficult than you think it's going to be. It always is. So I try to not put too much on my plate at any given time. Hold on, let me just look at these notes, because something looks really messy here. I'm just trying to think what's the best way to organize this, but honestly, I mean, yeah, I guess organizing it this way is fine. Maybe I put this up here. Or maybe I do this. Or not. I'm just trying to figure out where, I guess, well, yeah, that can go there, I suppose. But yeah, like, that's just sort of what I think. Like, okay, well, yeah, IT Dandy's like, yeah, that's one of the reasons as well. I agree why core gameplay is important, but I think it's more than that. Like, because there's still polish, of course. That I agree, but I think the degree at which, like, the tier you go for polish, I feel like. Let me think about what I'm trying to say. I feel like the less you say, the more room the player has to insert their imagination into the experience. Like, what does that mean? Well, for example, you know, like when you read a book, and again, I don't know if this is an accurate example because I don't read, but let's say you were reading a fictional novel and there was like two characters, and one of them had this whole chapter describing what they looked like down to the polygon. Like, they have X amount of freckles, they have red hair, their voice sounds like Alvin the Chipmunk, they have they're left-handed, or I don't know, something. Like, and then you have another character who doesn't have that much detail about what he looks like, but you can kind of imagine it. And you kind of feel, depending on what the character does, because let's say you have both of those characters, and the character who you don't know who he looks like, but he does cooler things, I feel like you're going to be more attached to that character. Because what he looks like and sounds like isn't really important. It's like how he fulfills the need of the story. And if he fills an important role, and it's like, and if you don't know what he looks like, but you can imagine it. I don't know, I feel like to a degree, I think the less you specify, the more the audience gets a bit of an in as to imagining what something could be, sort of thing. So to me, I kind of would take that in a game context. It could be environment detail. Because I think abstraction, that's the word I'm trying to look for. Because the more you make it abstract and use things to symbolize things, you can kind of communicate the same feeling, but with less work and resources and production value, but still get the same thing across. Like Undertale, for example. I haven't played it, but it's a pixel art game, and it has an immersive story and characters, I'm led to believe. And it did all of that without... it didn't even have character models. It just had sprites, and it didn't even really have that many colors. And, like, if you can tell a story with those simple things, then, you know, imagine, like, I don't know, it's just, I think that's cool. So, granted, I don't want to make a pixel art game. There's still a degree of production value I'm trying to put in, but I try to be conscious of where I can take shortcuts, or what I can get away with not doing. Like, for example, a character's voice, because we were talking about voice acting before. I'm thinking, well, what if I had Gabby, like, you know, if she had, like, dialogue, but she didn't have a voice, like, you'd read it or something. Because then you can kind of use your imagination to think about what she might sound like. And it also means that I don't have to spend the time casting someone and writing and directing their voice and recording, which is all lots of work. Like, believe me, it's not just... like, when I did my recording for one of my games, it took, like, 6 hours. Like, it was, like, a full day. And it's, like... then to edit the dialogue is another day, and it's just, like... how about not doing that? How about we don't do that stuff? So, anyway... okay, this all looks as clean as I think I can make it. I'm gonna try and integrate this now with the rest of the code. Because we've got, is traversing surface. And then we've got is aiming, is sliding, is grabbing ledge, is grinding. And then if that is all false, I think we then want to pick this. And I think that should be it. I think. So let's, I'm going to disconnect this node. And we're going to move that just to test if this new logic works. Because I don't know yet. Oh, we got an error. So there must be something I got wrong here. Oh, I know why. I need a component reference. Give me a second. Yeah, we need to plug that in. All right, well let's give this a test now. All this code. All right, well the ADS camera still works. The wall run cam works. Actually no, the wall run cam. Yeah, so you can see there. You see this? This is the wall run camera state, but it's like It's still active, even though I'm not wall running. So that's good. That's bad. But you can see it kind of intelligently picks a side to move depending on if the wall was on the left or right. So if I then go run on this side, you see that the camera now tilts the other way. And if I move the camera, it keeps me to the left side of the right side or the left of the screen. So yeah, it depends on it. So it keeps the wall out of the frame. That's like what that camera does. But this camera state should only be happening when I'm wall running, not when I'm just running normally. So that's a bug. It seems to fix itself though. If I wall climb, it seems to correct itself, so that's cool. The camera panning to left and right seems to work. So when the camera moves itself a bit ahead of Gabby when moving left and right. I think that's all this. Then there's the grind state and the slide state, but the grinding is broken, so I can't test that right now. But this mostly works. It's just the camera wall run state is not working properly. So I wonder why that is. I have to double check. Oh, that's why. I had the wrong thing plugged in. Let's try that. See what happens. So I should be able to wall run when I jump off. Yeah, there we go. Now it's back to normal. And then if I wall run up here. Yeah, there we go. The camera is working. So I quickly need to restart my editor. Because oh wait, maybe it's still working. Oh, now it's broken. So you guys can see on my screen, I have the right click menu, but on my screen, I can't see it because the editor bugs out like this. It's been doing this for months. I've tried switching to, instead of using the gaming graphics driver, I'm using the studio graphics driver. That still hasn't fixed it. So the only fix is to restart the editor, which I hate doing, but that's what I have to do. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, Dandy, is that I know that my project could easily fit well with those attributes, but those attributes are also expensive, and, you know, there comes a point, like, because at the moment, I've been doing everything myself, and I plan to continue that for as much things as I can, and when I think about, the project as a whole, because it's battles, that's what the game is, it's fighting a bunch of small battles. And sometimes you can pick certain battles to fight, but you won't be able to pick them all because you just don't have the energy. Like, you won't have the time or energy to fight every battle and solve every problem and overcome every challenge because it's just not practical. Like, even now, I get tired really easily, more than I used to, but I still try and push through because I know that this particular thing is a battle I want to fight. But when it comes to things like doing a fully animated cutscene with my models, I just think, man, is there an easier way I could do that would make me less tired, that would still get the mood and feeling across that I want? And if a way like that exists, then I'm going to do it because it's more fun. Like, it's more fun for me to do it because not only do I still have the fun challenge of trying to deliver thing with limitations, because that's always kind of engaging, isn't it, when you try and give yourself limits, because then you have to be smart and work within those limits. Like, that's fun, but also it's fun in the sense that I'm not going to be as dead, because it's like I'm spending less of my energy and getting the same kind of result, and I'm going to be happier because I'm not as tired and I'm still getting good work done. So that's another thing too, is that when you're developing a project like this in the long term, because we're going on like 3 years now, you got to be careful. Like, you have fuel and it's limited, and it's like, I want to try and make sure that by the end my tank's not empty. And by what I mean by tank, it's not just like your energy, but it's also, I think energy is not just like your nutrition, it's also your creative energy, your emotional energy, because that stuff is drained when you work on stuff like this. So I try to be clever about that. So yeah, and that's the thing too, because you get excited about that stuff, because you know that, oh man, if I could do cutscenes, that'd be cool. And you, like, I have those same thoughts, man. Like, I think it would be cool, but would it be practical? I don't think it would be. So I always try and think of other solutions that can still do the job. But again, there's not really much point in me talking about it, because maybe that, I don't know, it might change. I might find an efficient way to do that. I might not. I don't know, because I'm still pre-production work. Pre-production's coming to a close, granted, and I'm starting to think more about that stuff, but, you know, it's to me, it's like, well, if another game told a story without cutscenes, then I want to figure out how they did it, because if they can, because for me, it's not about the cutscenes or the voice acting or the production value. It's about what those things say. That's what I find a bit more important. If I can say something, and it, like with any, like let's say I had any tool at my disposal, and if it's to me, it's not about what tool I pick. It's about what I use the tool for. I suppose that's the simpler way of putting it. So if I can use something that's not cutscenes, like, I don't know, like a sketch or a storyboard or a comic, or I don't know, just random ideas. If I could use that to deliver the same story and have the same feeling, then it's like, hell yeah, let's, because that stuff sounds more up my alley, because I have experience in those things. I'm more skilled at those things, and it's less expensive, and it's going to drain my tank less, and it's still engaging, and it's still to the vision, and it's practical. So yeah, so that's sort of like, that's just an example. Again, I'm not saying that the game will or will not have a certain thing yet. I'm just saying that that's kind of the thought process that you have to think about with these things. Code Vein and Scarlet Nexus both get majority of the... Yeah, like 2D dioramas, like to me, I'm not promising that I'm going to do that, but if you had to ask me right now, I would say that to me sounds more appealing, because I've been drawing since I was 6. It's not a huge undertaking for me to draw things, because I have more practice in it. I can do things quicker, and it's just, for me, it's better. But if you wanted me to do like 3D cutscenes, like I don't have as much practice in that as I do with drawing, so I'm gonna have to put in the time to learn it, and then to execute it. And because it's a more complex result, more things can go wrong. It's more expensive, and it's just, for me, like, it's probably not practical, but for someone else maybe. But you know, you got to remember that it's me making the game and not Sony. So I guess I feel like that's kind of what I wish, because I feel like people say that and they talk about game scope, but I feel like a lot of the times when people talk about game scope, I feel like I don't know, I used to hate that word, game scope, because I'm not sure if it quite, I think when people talked about game scope to me when I was a student, I feel like they should have talked about that specific part of it, because I feel like that's what game scope is. But every time someone would talk to me about game scope, it was always about, oh, well, your game idea is too big. And it's like, well, what does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? Like, hold on, maybe it isn't. And maybe we can still execute the vision of this thing, but, you know, with different resources. But anyway. So I'm just reading through. I hope I didn't miss any chat messages or redeemable things here. I don't think I did, thank goodness. Oh, we got some hydrates. Okay, I'll hydrate. Anyway. So yeah, I think this camera logic is fine now. I'm just trying to like move it. I'm just trying to move all the nodes to be a bit neater, because this looks kind of a bit of a mess. Oh wait, hold on. This needs to go. And oh no, I don't want to promote it as a variable. I just want to plug it into this one instead. But yeah, I don't know. Like those are definitely interesting questions and problems though, because look, I kind of don't want to say more about it until I've actually done some work on that area. And I know everyone's very curious about like, oh hold on. Something's not right. Give me a sec. I gotta check my code. Something's missing. Oh, okay, that's... Sorry, I just lost track of where this went. But, what was it? Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Let me just double check if this works, actually, because I've just tried to clean this up, and I think I might have broken it. Okay, I don't think I've broken it. Okay, that seems to be fine. But, you know, that's, like, interesting. I kind of wish people talked a bit more about that stuff, to be honest, though. Like, not necessarily me talking about it, but I want to hear from people who have actually gone and finished a project and shipped it, and hear about the kind of sacrifices that they needed to make to get it shipped. And if those sacrifices like compromise the vision in any way, like that's the stuff I'm interested in, and that's why I hate a lot of the devlogs that get made nowadays, because no one's doing projects where that's even necessary, because it's all just making like making Among Us but in RTX or something, and it's just like, well, you're not going to encounter those problems in that sort of project, and those problems are actually really interesting. But if you do a small game jam project, you're not like I said before, it's a different journey, and there's different rules. So I don't know, that's the kind of stuff I want to see more of myself. And I don't know, maybe if I keep doing videos long enough, maybe I can finally be the person to talk about how I solve those things when I get to them. But until then, I probably shouldn't say much, because hey, I still have a lot to learn myself. I'm sure I'm going to struggle heaps in these sorts of areas, but hell, I'm interested in how that might work, because I'm really tired of just doing small little fun projects, like little experiments. I'm really tired of doing that. I want to do something that has, because I have a vision in mind and I actually want to execute on it. So it's gonna be interesting. But until it happens, I can't really say much. Crembo says Titanfall delivered its entire plot in the form of radio drama. Yeah, games that do that's kind of cool as well, I find. Like, me personally, I wouldn't do my game that way, or I'd try to avoid, because again, it's voice acting, and I'm not experienced with voice acting. And if I got a voice actress or a voice actor, it's expensive, and I don't know how to direct them. So it's like, I would try and avoid that unless I actually put in the time to learn it, which I might or might not do, depending on the situation. But that's like, for people with experience in that area, it's definitely a good shortcut to having to animate stuff, because you just have, like, BioShock does that heaps. It has those little radio things you find in the environment to basically tell you the entire plot. Like, that's really cool. Very smart, because it also kind of plays into the thing I was saying earlier, right, about imagination, because it's like, you don't actually have to give everyone every detail, because you can have an engaging story without those things. Like BioShock, I didn't know what half of the NPCs in the recordings looked like that Tenenbaum lady or whatever. Like, I couldn't tell you what they looked like or how they moved, but the character is more than just those things. And through her dialogue in the radios, it was like, oh, okay, I kind of get what sort of person this is. Or like Atlas, because you don't see Atlas ever in the entire game, and he's kind of a pivotal character, right? But they only needed to bring him to life with voice. And I think that's really cool, because they didn't have to like make a model for him or anything. I mean, technically, I'm not going to try and spoil the game, but just Atlas specifically, under that name, he was just a radio voice. That's it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Even like, hell, Dungeons and Dragons, I think, is a perfect example of that point, because there are no graphics in Dungeons and Dragons and people still play it. There's no production value at all, at least from what I know about. Like, I haven't played it in ages, but when I was playing it a few years back, it was just some guy with like a board, and we had like a grid on the table, and we had these little chess pieces. There was no graphics, no voice acting, no sound effects, and it was still engaging. Because maybe it's not about those things. Granted, like I said, doesn't mean that those things aren't good necessarily. It just means that they're absolutely, like, in an absolute kind of setting, they're not the only thing that's important or the only tool that you can use. I personally like using certain visual tools, like, of course, character models and stuff to deliver things, but yeah. Oh, well, yeah, some people put on a voice, some people don't. I tried when I played. I couldn't pick a voice, though. Like, I tried, like, 3 different voices, and then I just got bored. Or, like, oh, yeah, because what we would do, because I think I was still a student, and I was, like, young. I was, like, one of the younger students, and a lot of the other guys were, like, in their 20s. So we'd go to, like, one of my friends' house and play, but they'd all buy, like, beer from, like, Woolworths. But because I was, like, 16, I'd get, like, a thing of orange juice. And I'm not sure if orange juice, because one day I had a really bad cough, and I don't think orange juice is a good remedy for that. I don't know. But I just remember after having that cough and sculling orange juice, my voice was just destroyed, and I was like, you know, I think I'm just going to not put a voice on. And that's when I stopped. But then I think we stopped playing soon after that anyway, so... yeah, anyway. Okay, so this is a bit cleaner. This is actually well, this is actually kind of big. Hold on, let me see if I can do a better job at organizing this. But yeah, like text-based adventure games too, right? They just have text and they can still create engaging gameplay, and I think that's fascinating. It's definitely appealing. Like, as a developer, it's appealing to, like, what if I just made a game without any graphics? Like, it's appealing for sure. But it's also just interesting that, because you're essentially, the only standard you need to work at isn't an objective standard. It's just a perceptive standard. It's the human brain that you're working with. And the human brain is, like, not like a flawless, 100% perfect observable thing. So there's actually lots of things you can do that are good enough for the brain, even though they might not look as realistic, right? Like when you see like a block in Minecraft that's got a dirt texture on it, it's not dirt, and you know it's not, but your brain will pretend that it is because it just does that. And I think it's abstracted, right? And I think that's cool. Anyway, I can delete all this now. Boom. Now, I always get really nervous when I delete a bunch of code like that, but I'm very sure I'm not going to need it. So we're gonna replace it with this. Now, yeah, hold on. I actually did delete something I wasn't supposed to there. I deleted the custom event. So let's get rid of all that now. Now I'm gonna add in that extra little state with the FOV thingy-mabob as well. So just give me a moment. Oh, come on. Can this just plug in, please? Yeah. Oh, I don't want to move that. I just want to move this all the way over here. Yeah. Control Z is I love Control Z. Yeah, I know, Tim. I know. I gotta play D&D. I know. When I can, someday. Thanks. I appreciate the invitation, though. I really do. I'm sorry that I'm just. Yeah, I know. I should have done it ages ago. I just always have stuff going on. But maybe if I find some free time soon. But actually, yeah, with Control Z, honestly, I wish Control Z existed in real life. I'm sure we all do. But that Control Z is the reason why I don't do like practical arts or cooking or anything like that. Like, I tried doing like clay classes when I was like in high school, and I hated it because it's destructive editing. There's no undo, and it's like, God, it sucks. Because at least with drawing, you could rub stuff out, and it's kind of like an undo. But if you're like cooking something, and if you like overcook like your noodles or whatever, there's no Control Zing that is permanent damage that you've made. And that's why I'm not a cook, because it's just so stressful. I just can't. I love the realm of non-destructive editing. It's amazing. Okay, so now I was gonna add a little bit of a bit of magic here. Traversing. No, let me go. Okay, so it's in this first bit of logic that I need to do this. I think. Maybe. Actually, no. I need to. Well, okay. Here's what I got to do. Actually, I'm gonna break this and make a new. Actually, no. Hold on. I don't need to break it. I can just split struct pin. I'm gonna then take the final output and then modify every state to add a bit of FOV depending on our inertia. So I'm gonna get the moment. Oh no, I need to get the get saved speed. Well, I'll need to select a float depending on what state we're in, of course. But let's say is walking. Let's say we're walking, and not is there is crouching? Yeah. So let's say is crouching is false and we're just walking normally. I want to add in. I then want to check. Hey, are we going faster than our normal walk speed? Which is going to be this number. If that is if whatever our current speed is more than this number, and this number will again depend on what state we're in. This is just current speed. If our current speed is more than what our current speed should be, then add some FOV. That's what I'm thinking. So I need to get velocity. And then I need to get, what am I looking for? Get vector length. Oh, come on. It's here, right? Get vector length. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's just vector length. All right. So we'll get vector length. And then we will... So that's our current speed. If it's more... Oh, wait, no. I plugged that in the wrong area. If it's here. And if that's more than that, we will then add to the FOV. So we'll make camera... what did I call this? I'm trying to find the struct name. I can't remember what I named this thing. Let me double check my variables. This is a fplayer camera data. There we go. So we'll make a new camera data using all of the other stuff from whatever state we're currently in, but we'll slightly change the FOV. So the FOV will be so if that is true, and if it's not, then we'll so if it's B, but if it's A, we're gonna put in a test number. We'll put in like 100, see what happens, and then we will then plug this into here. So we'll see. I don't know if this will actually. Oh, whoa! You guys see that? Okay, okay. Okay. Oh, I know why. Vector length XY. We need to use that, not vector length normal, because it's then going to check our upward speed. All right. Well, maybe we need to up the threshold slightly. So if it's more than that, maybe plus, let's give or take 50. So if we're going like 50, if we're going like faster than 50 plus our base speed. Yeah, there we go. So granted, the FOV zooms out heaps, and it shouldn't do it while I'm jumping. So that's kind of weird. What I was thinking was that, hold on, let me, where's test run? Let's go here. I'm thinking if we start, yeah. So if we like, yeah, I don't know if you, let me, give me a sec. I got to add a bit more to this. So let's change the FOV amount to maybe 10 instead, and then we will, saved walk speed crouched. We'll add the plus here, so we'll add like +4. Or maybe, yeah, +5 maybe. And then we will select, I guess we'll go if is crouching, we'll do that first. So if is crouching, pick walk speed crouched, but if it's not, then check if we're walking, and if that is true, we'll use that. Now I know this looks messy at the moment. I'll clean up in a second. Just testing. Okay, so you see that when I start sliding, you see the camera zooms out a bit because I'm exceeding the speed I should be going, which is what I want. So then what I can do is if I start, well, I was hoping it would zoom out a bit more actually. Maybe, okay, give me a sec. I have to go is crouching plus, I have to add in another number here. Need to get my Feline suit component and get slide speed. Or no, not min slide speed, max slide speed. And we'll add those together. Okay, so you see what I'm like boosting. Okay, maybe I want to add a bit more to it. We'll add like 50. Maybe we'll add 200. I don't know, I'm just playing with numbers because the effect I want is that if you're sliding, because this is like, to me, the camera shouldn't really do that much if you're just sliding normally. But if you're sliding under conditions where you would go faster than this, then I want the camera to zoom out. So I might change the zoom amount to 20 instead, and we'll go up the really, really steep hill and see how that plays. So you can see, yeah, when I start, it seems like when I jump, it zooms out, so I might have to fix that too, right? But if I start sliding down, yeah, now the camera sort of zooms out. So, okay, what I'd also think would be cool is that if it zoomed out, it had like a range. It would either zoom between 10 or like 30, depending on how much faster I was going. So it's a bit hard to see because the camera is like clipping into the ramp. But if I like put my camera over here and started sliding down, you see that the camera then zooms out. And then when I stop moving, it sort of zooms back in. I think, yeah, that's sort of the feeling I want. And if I'm like moving on the ground like I am now, I'm actually going faster because I have that extra momentum. So if I like run down some stairs, I'm going at 25 kilometers an hour, which is my default base speed. But if I like run down this ramp, you can see that I'm going 30, and now the camera zooms out a bit. So that's what I want. So I'm gonna have to do some tweaking to that, of course, to make it a bit more smart. But that's basically what I was trying to do. If cooking had Control Z, everyone would be a master chef. Yeah, dude, totally. I would still totally be interested in cooking. But yeah, I'd definitely be less apprehensive. Raindin has some nice quote here about organization. I don't get the people who think graph organization's bad, but assuming you do, Raiden says it looks like overkill in the short term, but it pays off. It definitely does. It pays off huge. Because like some of this code, man, I wrote like a year ago or more, and I'm glad it's clean because in 2 weeks, it takes me like 2 weeks to forget what something does. So glad that I still remember because it's all kind of organized, or at least it's organized enough for me to know what it is. I'm sure there's probably, if I went back in some of the stuff now, I'd probably do it different, but you know, you learn. Okay, so I'm gonna have to move this over. Oh, not the entire thing, just this one node. So I'm basically, adjusting the final result and adding a bit of extra FOV. Now the cool thing is that I think what this will do is that it'll add FOV onto whatever. So it'll add that FOV no matter what state I'm in, which is kind of what I was thinking. That's like the idea. I shouldn't do it when I'm jumping though. We'll do well, I guess, no, we won't do an is walking state. The is walking state will be if everything else is false, because then that way jumping, we don't have to specify. But I need to restart the editor again. I'm having that weird menu bug. I actually found a forum post recently where someone described the issue I was having, but no one had an answer, so I still am in the dark on how I can fix my editor breaking. Maybe 4.26 fixes it, I don't know. I haven't upgraded to 4.26, so maybe it fixes then, perhaps. Cooking's biggest problem to me is the fact everything's timed. Dude, yeah, because like, also, like, it's timed, and you have to kind of pay attention to multiple things simultaneously, or else it's like catastrophe. But also, I feel like a lot of recipes assume a lot of knowledge, like, beforehand. Like, I was looking at a recipe once, and it was like prepare onion, and then it just had a picture of onions chopped up. And it's like, okay, how do I do that, though? Like, I'm sure I could figure out how to chop an onion, but I'm sure there's a way to do it that is correct and a way to do it that isn't. So is this recipe going to tell me that? No, of course not, because it thinks I know that already, and I don't. And it's just like, come on, like, surely, like, how am I, like, I have no prior knowledge in this field. How do I prepare onion? How do I prepare egg? Like, prepare how? Like, I don't know. You tell me, man. That's what I'm going to the recipe for, but it doesn't tell you. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing with a lot of recipes, but the ones I've looked at are usually like that. Or, you know, it's some new ingredient I've never used before, and it's just like, oh yeah, just prepare it. And it's like, what does that mean exactly? It's very ambiguous. I don't like ambiguity. It's my least favorite thing. Well, yeah, I know it probably means to chop it up, but it's like, how? Exactly how? Because I might think of a way to chop it up, but the way I chop it up might be like really not efficient, and there might be another way to chop it up that's way better. And I want to do it that way because it's like, if you're not going to do it right, why bother? So I want to know the right way to cut it, and I'm looking to the recipe, and it doesn't tell me that step. It just says, oh yeah, just do it. And it's like, no, it's not good enough, man. I need to know specifics. I need specifics. How does this should be prepared exactly? Because I want to get this right. But yeah, so many recipes I've looked at just don't specify, and I hate that. I'm surprised anyone learns how to do that craft. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not surprised. I'm sure it's like, maybe people who can cook are just as confused at me being able to program than I am being, like, as confused as them being able to cook. Maybe it's like that. Maybe I sacrificed all my brain cells to learn this. Maybe you can actually learn cooking, but I have to shove this stuff out of my brain to make room. I don't know, man. Sacrifices. But yeah, no, as long as it's like destructive editing though, it'll always stress me out. I think having less ambiguous recipes would definitely be awesome, but I haven't had much luck. I don't know, maybe game dev is like that too, now I think about it. Because sometimes I have to like help my mom out with computer stuff. And I'll just say, yeah, just like go to your documents folder. And she's like, where's that? And it's like, oh, you don't know where the documents folder is. So maybe it's like that equivalent, where it's like, oh, you don't know how to prepare an onion. Maybe it actually is that simple and I'm overthinking it. But I don't know, like, hold on, because actually no, that's not right. Because if the documents folder, you can't get that wrong. Like, you can't, if you try and navigate to the documents folder, you won't do anything destructive. But if you cut an onion wrong, there are an infinite amount of things that could go wrong. Like, way more than, oh, I can't find the documents folder, or I can't save a JPEG. Like, because that stuff is, you're not going to get hurt. You're not going to, like, fatally injure yourself. So I don't know, maybe that's why I apply a different standard to it. Because it's like, if I cut this onion wrong, I could lose my finger. And I need that because I'm an artist, I need my fingers. But if I don't know how to do something in computers, like, oh, I don't know how to push my game to source control, it's like, I'm not gonna lose any bodily fluids or body parts doing that. I'm not gonna like be fatally injured. I'm not gonna like fry my hard drive unless I really wanted to. You know, like it's a different ball game, you know? You feel me? I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person that actually gets that stressed out when it comes to food. Well, actually, yeah, no, Broken Boatman's got a good point. But it's like, if you damage your computer, you just reformat it, and it's like, you can just, there's a clean slate, really. Actually, no, not quite, because then you have to you delete all your files. But if you smart and you back them up, like, I don't know, to me that feels much easier to do than cutting an onion. And saying that out loud is funny. It's actually really funny that I'm saying that, like, doing a full system backup and a full Windows install to remove a virus is easier than cutting an onion. Because to me, honestly, no, like, I'm not joking. To me, it is. It is actually easier to do that because I know what I'm doing when I'm doing like a Windows restore. Like, I know exactly where to go. I know what everything does. And it's nothing because I can't screw it up because I know what I'm doing. But if I'm cutting an onion, man, like, I don't have steady hands, which is really weird because I'm an artist. I really should have steady hands, but for some reason I just do not, like, I can't hold things still. So yeah, I tend to have a rough time when it comes to like holding, like, even when I was building my computer, I had trouble screwing things in because I just can't keep my hands still. So I don't know. That's why I never really got into claymation and stuff either, because it's like, I can't. I'm good with my hands at anything that's like not like anything that's computers. What are the chances of... Did you just ask that? What are the chances of you injuring yourself cutting onions? Dude, with me, the chances is like 50%. I'm not joking. Because the knife is sharp, it's in close proximity to my fingers, and one lapse in judgment later, that's goodbye. You know? Or like you get injured, which isn't as bad as losing your entire finger, but it's still not nice, you know? Oh, thanks, Tim. I think with onions, though, I think I kind of know it, because I had to do it for a game jam once, I think. Yeah. I've actually, because I'm sure you're probably thinking, Ray, why would you be cutting onions at a game jam? And that's a long story I won't get into now, but I remember I had to do it. That's when I learned how to cut onions, and then I forgot. But that's when I first learned how to do it. It was at a game jam. And it was a lot harder. Well, it was about as hard as I thought, but, you know. I like the idea of like writing a program that does it. Anyway, why am I so... I don't know. Why are we all talking about cooking? I don't know. Oh, let me plug this in. Oh, yeah, also, dude, yeah. I used to think... This is weird. It only recently started happening to me where I would actually get affected by onions, like, with my eyes. It used to never bother me. I used to never cry, but now I do. And it's like, what changed? Am I getting old? Oh, what's happening? It's weird. I don't get it. So, yeah, it's not pleasant. I think the thing as well I don't like is that a lot of things... I can cut bread, but if it's circular, like an onion or anything, I don't vibe with circular objects. It's harder because they slip, because you try and do it and then it like slips away because it can roll. It's like, you know what can't roll? Bread. Bread can't roll. Bread can't escape. I'd rather cut that because it's gonna stay where it needs to, and I can cut it neatly, and yeah, that's that. If I had to cut anything, it'd be bread over onions any day. Billy says, I realize that UE blueprints look like Factorio. I'm not sure what that is, but sure, I suppose. I always found that they kind of looked a bit like Scratch. Actually, you know, maybe not, but maybe they do a bit. I haven't used Scratch that much. I've seen people use Scratch, and I saw them like do an if-else loop in it, and I'm like, oh, I recognize what that is. That's cool. Yeah. I wish I had Scratch growing up, man. Kids today, man, they have it so lucky. They have so much, they have a lot at their disposal. Hold on. Sorry, my brain's getting tired. I gotta remember what I was gonna add here. I was gonna add, well, let me play it and remember what I was doing. Hold on, why am I going max? Oh yeah, I was gonna do the thing where I was gonna like make the final false state, just the normal walk state. Okay, so what I need to do now, so let me reverse check these states. So we'll put this here, put that there, and we'll check if velocity is, what do I need to check for? I have an order in which I check things, and I use that order here. So, what did I do here? I checked for traversing surface. Okay, so I'll do that. So I'll check traversing surface, because what I want, actually no, let me think about this for a second, because what I want to happen is I want it to be able... There's two things it needs to check, A and B, these two numbers, right here. This and... Oh, I can't... Well, yeah, these two numbers. A is... Actually, no, hold on. Let me think about this a bit more. Well, essentially, what I need is it needs to check our speed. Okay, actually, no, this is correct. So B is normal, and A is the modified value. And the condition on which it picks A and B depends on things, and what A is also depends on things. the way I'm thinking about it. Because what I'd like to do here is have it so that I can, when A is true, it's going to add a certain FOV. And for A to be true, it needs to know what movement state we're in and if we're exceeding the speed we should be at that movement state. So for example, you might say like, oh, well, you know, is velocity more than 400, right? And that's only going to work in walking, right? It's only going to check if we're on the ground walking and we're going faster than 400. But I also, like, it needs to go more than a certain value, and that will depend. So if I'm wall running, the threshold at which it will then go into the new FOV is going to change. Because instead of checking against 400, it's going to check against like 800 or something, because you will run a bit faster. Or if you're grinding, you might go at a different speed. So I want it to check against, it's basically checking if A is true when your speed is exceeding the supposed speed. And the supposed speed is different depending on what state we're in. And then the actual value, if A is then true, and if we are going more than what we should be going, add FOV to the camera. But the amount of FOV to add is also going to depend on what state we're in. Because I want to be able to have it so that if I'm wall running, and if I'm exceeding my max speed, I can add like 10 FOV. But then if I'm grinding, I can add up to 20 FOV. And then if I'm just running, I can add up to 5 FOV. So I can have control over how much the camera can zoom out when I'm exceeding the maximum of that movement state. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So there's just going to be a lot of these sorts of things where it's basically, it's conditional. It's like, you know, is A more than B? And it's basically its answer. It's going to be, well, it depends. And then it checks these two things. It's like, well, is this true? And it's going to go, well, it depends. And that's basically going to be the logic flow of this. It's just, it depends on a lot of things. And I know, once again, yes, you could also do this with an enum, but I can't be bothered. So I'm just going to do it this way. So A is also going to be a select, but I'm just going to like put a debug here and say new FOV to add, and that's going to be state dependent, as will this. This will always be a constant though. This is always going to be the same. This will always be the same, but then the number it's comparing it to is also going to change. That way I don't have to do what I did before, where I had like a branch. Are we wall running? Okay, do the logic. Branch. Are we not wall running? Okay, do this. So instead of doing branch, and then executing like this like 10 times, I could just execute it once. But when it does execute, it does it with the exact right numbers. Because I realized that select nodes were a thing. So we're going to do it that way. Factorio is a factory building game. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just I don't play a lot of. That's the thing too, right? I don't get games where you build things. I just don't enjoy them. Just personally, I just don't like. I don't get it. Because if I like Minecraft, someone tried to get me into Minecraft once, and I just got so bored. Because it's like I could make a house in Minecraft, or I could just open Unreal and make one, and not have to survive or fight creepers. Like I could also just do that. So yeah, that's, or like building factories. Like if I really wanted to, I feel like I would just do it in Unreal and make my own factory building game. But I don't really like building factories. So, but yeah, I mean, if a game has a similar interface to this, that's interesting for sure. I'm sure it'd be a very powerful editor. Can you name the input parameters? No, but I don't think you really need to anyway. I don't see why you'd need to. Because it's just it's abstract. It's just pick A, and then it just if this boolean is true, it picks A, and if it's false, it picks B. So I don't know why you need to name them. I'm sure you could probably write your own node if you really wanted them named. I'm sure you could write your own version of it that does that. But I've always worked fine with them just being labeled A and B. Of course, actually no, those labels can change if you use like another type of select. Like instead of select float, if you did select something else, it'll propagate depending on whatever. Like if you had an enum, it would have the names of the enumerations, but I don't have that at the moment. I'm just using floats and booleans. Speaking of node-based programming games, there's... Wait, so that's a genre? Node-based programming games? Interesting. Didn't know that. Oh gosh, sorry, just check this. We still have we have like up to 60 people here now. Okay, I think I'm definitely, okay, I'm keeping this slot. Although I'm not sure if I'll keep it on a Monday or a Wednesday, but it seems like this time seems to be good for some of you guys. So thanks for popping in to watch. If you're here, I appreciate the company. I know it was like kind of impromptu. I only gave like what, like less than 24 hours notice, but I appreciate people dropping by. Anyway, so I want to try and get this done before I go, because I have like maybe another 15 minutes left, because I want to try and not stream for 4 hours straight, because it just takes a lot out of me. So I want to see if I can get as much of this done in the next 15 minutes as possible. So let me think. Vector, select float. So this is whether we are wall running. I think I can get rid of this. Or no, hold on. What did that stuff do? I think this boolean actually fulfills the same purpose, I think. Pretty sure. So I think I will do this. And then, okay, so what this is, from side is basically, I'll show you what that looks like. Here, from side is false, because it uses the same function. And then here, from side is true. So it basically means if I'm going to climb or wall run. That's what this boolean is for. I'm not sure if I should have a different FOV thing though. You know what? Sure, I'll do that. So if we are traversing and we're from slide, and if B, we'll also check for it again. And if B is that, and we'll just check is traversing as well. And that should allow me to set values depending on whether we are side, like wall running or climbing. That's what it should let me do. Now the thing is, I think I might have to repeat this code up the top as well, because this is determining what speed I'm going. This is determining something else. This is determining the amount of FOV to add. So I might have to copy paste some of this stuff, but I guess we'll just keep making it. We'll see what happens. Boken Boatman says it's bank holiday this week, so I'd usually be at school. All right. I don't know what's bank week, bank holiday this. I don't know. Maybe is it just like a holiday or something? Is it like a school holiday? I don't know. No idea. But thanks for spending your free time here. Yeah, it seems. Sorry, I'm just like looking at some other chat messages. Yeah, I don't know. Programming is, maybe it is easy to learn, because I can't remember anymore, to be honest. Because I learned it when I started learning it when I was like 12, and I can't remember if it was hard. But if I could do it at 12, maybe it wasn't. Like, if a kid can do it, maybe it's not that complicated. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, I think. Because the stuff from last stream, oh, Jesus, that was complicated. So maybe it can get complicated, but I think in concept, I think it's not as hard as what people say. I don't know what people say anymore. It used to be like, you know, kind of like, ooh, you're smart if you can program. But honestly, I think that's becoming less and less the case. Because I don't know, it's accessible, there's lots of resources on it. And it's not really teaching you how to program, it's more teaching you how to think, really. That's what it's doing. And I think I was really engaged with that as a kid, for sure. So I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I think the bar entry just keeps getting lower, it seems. Oh, a week holiday. Okay. That's interesting. We never got just a week off for no reason. Man, you kids have it so lucky. Why are you getting these bank holidays? We didn't used to have that back in my day. What was this about? I don't know. It's probably because I'm in a different country. I don't know what country bank holidays are a thing. Not Australia, I would assume, because we didn't have that. Hold on. Oh, sorry, let me just think. Now I'm obsessed with the fact that I didn't have bank holidays, and I forgot what I'm trying to program. So, Okay. So feline surface traverse direction. No, hold on, wait a second. Side, yes. Okay, so this value, but I want to make a vector length out of, actually, I'll just, no, wait. What have I just done? Okay, yeah. Vector length XY to that, yes. That's what I want. Get that in there. Oh, beautiful. Look at that code. So we got vector length, surface traverse. I can keep that over there. So that's checking my wall run, and if I haven't coded the momentum for the wall run yet, or the grind, and that's going to be what I'm going to work on probably during this week. But I thought I'd just start with something easy for now, like this camera stuff, and then I'll work on that stuff. But there will be a stage later where you will be able to exceed, like you'll be able to have inertia while wall running. That's the idea. So when that does happen, it'll accommodate for it. But as of now, you won't be able to observe that yet. So that when B is true, we then want to check surface direct get surface traverse direction. Hold on. I had another variable for the frontwards. Surface forward, surface direction for. Yeah. This was the one. Yep. Oh. And if it's, then that will go... Actually, wait a sec, I've just realized I might be able to make this even more efficient. Give me a second to think. Okay, I think, yeah. Okay, I have an idea that might work. Or, no, you know what, I'll leave it. I'll leave it as it is. This, I think, yeah, this will be good. So we'll put that there, and put that there. See if I can like move it away a bit. There we go. So then if B, so if warning from the side, and then if warning from the front, and then if none of that is true, what am I going to check for next? We will check for grinding next. So if that is all, we'll select another float. And we'll pick A this time if grinding is true. Oh, I don't want to do that. There we go. So if grinding is true, I might have to move all this over a bit. We then want to pick. We then want to pick a max speed. So I'm sure I have a grind speed. Yeah, get speed. There we go. Grind speed. And then if B, we'll select another float, and this will check ledge. I think ledge grabbing's the next one I check for. So yeah, the nodes are getting a little spaghetti here, but we'll make do. And then what's next after grinding? Grabbing ledge. Wait, hold on. No, that's wait, that's wrong. Hold on. Let me check over here. Traverse surface. Sliding. That's what I was gonna check. Sliding, grabbing ledge. Now there's a reason I'm doing it in this order, so let me just change it. So so sliding goes first. Let's move that. So it goes. How does it go? It goes. Sliding, grabbing, grinding. Yeah, okay, so we'll do that. And then if max slide speed, there we go. Straighten those up. Okay. And then we check for grabbing ledge, which, now that I think of it, I might not need... No, I don't think I might not need this, actually. Yeah, no, I don't think I will. Because you don't move while grabbing ledges, so we don't need that one. We'll just check instead for, we'll do straight to grinding, and then I think that's then the default state is the final, then that's this. And if B, then we have to check for our get max. Whoa, hold on. No, hold on, that's not quite right. I think, yeah, no, we gotta check for crouched. And then we check for the normal walk, because that's when everything else would be false. Where is... Nice username, by the way. Where is my senpai? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know where he is. But how... I've been good. I'm currently working on some camera stuff at the moment. Just polishing up the camera a little bit. I'm probably going to add way more later, of course, but... this is mainly to complement the momentum system I'm working on, which is like 50... I'd say it's 50% done. Because I've got 2 movement modes working out of 4. And that's the slide, which lets you... It has like inertia when you slide down things, and also just general running. If you run down hills, you do gain a little bit of speed as well. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is basically make it so that the camera will detect if you're moving faster than what your baseline speed is, and if you are, then it'll zoom the camera out a bit so it feels like you're going faster. And it's just, yeah, doing the logic. So that's what's up. We got some programmer stories in here. Broken Boatman says that he spent a long time thinking he couldn't do it, and then eventually he took computer science and realized how easy it is. Yeah, I know, right? It's programming. It's weird because, like, yes, it's easy, kind of, but I feel like if the last stream I did was anything, it was me realizing that programming isn't easy. So I'm just like thinking in my head of scenes from last time when I was like yelling at my computer, like, come on, just work. And it's like, then looking at it, reading the message saying, oh, I just realized how easy programming was. It's the duality, the duality of programming. But I guess, yeah, if you're like just doing, I don't know, it's easy if you start with doing easy stuff, I think. Like, it's if you're trying to approach it, I think, yeah, in that context, it's definitely a lot easier than you think. God, every time I say that, how many of you guys remember the Udemy ad? Does anyone know the Udemy ad? I don't know if that was only shown in my country or not. I've Googled it, and like no one talks about it, but it was the most annoying ad ever. It was like this game dev Udemy ad, and it had this guy. He was like, you know, making your own games is easier than you think. And he had like this smug look on his face trying to sell you this programming course. Does anyone remember that? Am I the only one who remembers that ad? I used to see it everywhere. Oh yeah, no, Senpai's got it. Yeah, man. He knows it. You know what I'm talking about. Oh man, I hate it. I'm so glad it's not in my ads anymore, but the look on his face, dude. I wanted to punch him. He's just like... I'm trying to... He has like the massive frames, and he's like, coding your own games is easier than you think. It's not, by the way. It's a lot harder than you think. But it's more fun. It's definitely more interesting than you think, but I wouldn't say it's easier than you think. And he's like, you know, you should try this. You should try this online Udemy course on Unity. It's taught by a software engineer and a game designer who are both expert instructors, all for the price of takeout. And it's like, I don't know. Me personally, I don't like the idea of a software engineer teaching game development. That's just my opinion, because they're software engineers. They're not game developers. Like, I'd rather learn it from an actual game developer. But that's just me. Some people don't care. I personally, if I've got a teacher and if they've never made a game before, then I just don't respect them, because it's like, what have you done? So the minute he said software engineer, I just tuned out, because I was like, okay, I don't want to be a software engineer though. I want to be a game developer. Oh, thanks, Tim. Thanks for sticking around, man. Appreciate it. Hopefully I'll catch you in this new schedule more frequently. Dude, yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who remembers that ad, though, thank God. I really didn't. I was so tired of seeing it. Well, yeah, that's the thing, too, is that, man, I swear, I'm not going to get into this too much. I have a lot of opinions on this, but the whole game dev courses scene, dude, something smells off. But that's all I'm going to say. I don't trust a lot of the people who are offering courses. That's just me. I know it's ironic because I used to be a teacher, but out of the teachers I had, personally, I respected the ones who actually had made stuff before, but I find that it's actually super easy for, like, you know, a 16-year-old to just make a Udemy programming course with, like, rudimentary knowledge and charge, like, $100 for it. Like, if you're paying for that, like, I'm sorry, but there's better way. You can learn this stuff without paying anything, by the way. Like, that's how I did it. So, yeah, I don't trust the whole courses thing, but especially the Udemy guy. I especially don't trust him. There's another one I saw that was like, I think it was a programming or design course that had a similar vibe to it. Maybe it was it was some other new one they did. It had some woman in it, and she was like, I didn't like it because she smiled too much, and it was creeping me out. Like, she took up like the whole frame, and she was smiling, and she's like, have you ever wanted to learn how to code? Well, you can get started now. And I don't know, something about the delivery just threw me off. Because it's like, I genuinely doubt this person has shipped something. Well, it's probably an actor. That's usually what they do for these things, right? But it's just the way. It's so pandering to me. Like, I hate it. Like, I'm not a baby. But I don't know, maybe that's just me because I actually know a thing or two about programming. Maybe that's why it pisses me off. But, like, dude, I don't like those ads. I should probably leave it at that. I don't like it. I don't like it. It smells bad. Don't trust it. Yeah. Oh, the Udemy, man. It makes you want to cry. Yeah, dude, it makes me want to cry too, man. I cry because people actually pay for it. That's why I cry, because it's like, oh my god, you know, you can just YouTube it, dude. You don't have to pay $100. You don't even have to pay the price of takeout. You can just learn free. Unreal Docs, baby. That's all you need. So yeah, that's why I get, like, I get chills down my spine when I see those, man. Sorry. I just got super... now I'm just thinking about the Udemy guy. I can't remember what I was doing. Sorry, I just... Oh, the memories. Oh, they're all coming back to me now. God. Anyway. I remember there was another one I saw once that had like a... They all do YouTube ads for some reason, which I find weird because it's like, I don't know. I feel like I've never had to use YouTube ads for anything, and people have found stuff from me. So I mean, I don't know. But like when I see these YouTube ads, like there was one I saw where it was like this dude, and he's like, "Hello, my name is Ben. We're gonna teach you to learn the code the fun way." And he kind of shows you this little tank game, and I'm just like, seriously, like you're charging money for that? Like, it's like a demo project. Like anyone could make that. So anyway, I should probably stop, because who knows, maybe I'll do a course someday and maybe this will age really very poorly. But I feel like if I was to do a course, I would do it not that way, for sure. I probably wouldn't, I don't, like, unless I need to, I probably won't until after this project's done. I think that's when I'll be in the best position to, if I ever decided to, but yeah. Don't trust the Udemy guy is basically all you need to know. Sorry. Okay, now let's get through this, power through this. I don't want to be on for more than I have to be, so let's figure out why did I add this state twice? I already have grinding. Oh yeah, I was gonna check crouch. I think it was crouching I was going to check. Crouching. Is crouching, yeah, that's what I wanted to check. Because if we are crouching, we then need to check for a different speed. God, I just keep thinking of the Udemy guy. I feel like kind of embarrassed for the people who don't know who I'm talking about. But if you try and Google it, making your own... Oh no, it's coding. Coding your own games is easier than you think. There's not a lot of results. Like, I feel like it didn't become as much of a meme. Like, there's a few results, but it's like one page of results of this dude. This one's my meme, by the way. I made this one because I was thinking about Thanos one day, and I was like, a small price to pay for takeout, and he buys a Unity course. But yeah, there's only one page of like results on this dude. But yeah, that's the guy, the Udemy boy. For those who don't know, just search this phrase, coding your own game is easier than you think, and then cry your eyes out, because that's what's gonna happen. Well, yeah, hey man, if I do an ad, it's gonna be I guarantee you, I'm gonna try to do it way better than that guy, for sure. Because I probably would start by showing the game I've made first, and then say, hey, you see this? You want to do this? Oh, of course. That's probably what I do. Because that's the thing, a lot of game, like that guy, right? You don't see anything. He doesn't show you anything. He's just talking in front of his fridge. And it's like, well, I don't know, man. Show me what you got. Like, how do I know that you know what you're doing? Because you haven't shown me anything. You haven't demonstrated, like, what games have you made? What are we going to make in the course? What kind of things are we going to code? Like, tell me any details. Show me something. Get me excited. But it's just him talking in front of his fridge, and it's like, I'm sorry, but that doesn't excite me. I'm sorry, but so yeah. I don't know. I think it's just basic advertising. Yumi guy now lives rent free in your head, dude. Yeah, he's always been there, man. He'll always will be. But yeah, I'm sure there's probably some good courses on Udemy now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing Udemy. I'm sure there's great courses. The way they marketed that specific one makes me not trust it. I haven't done it. I don't know if it's actually good, but I feel like I would want to know that from the ad, which is why I don't like the ad, because it doesn't actually tell me about the course at all. It's just this dude. But anyway, let me remember what I'm doing. So, okay, so I need to get crouched speed. Get max walk speed crouched. And then then this B, there's then gonna be get max walk. Get saved max walk speed. Actually, no, hold on, I got something wrong. Get saved crouch. Yeah, there we go. I should use this number here instead. Alrighty, I think that is all the branches and stuff I think I'll need. It's just, well, for that bit, actually, there's a bit more we gotta do as well. We gotta figure out how much FOV we need to add. So all of this is determining whether A is true, and if A is true, then we need to pick a number. A has to be something, and what is A gonna be? Well, that'll depend on all of these factors here. So we'll have to make another branch going up that way, I think. Let me like move, I'm gonna move this out of the way. Hey, Collie Pop, what's up? Oh, thanks for redeeming Hydrate. Oh, I'm out of Coke Zero. I have to go to my water now. Oh. I wish I had like a mini fridge in here with just Coke Zero. Totally, I would so do that if I could fit a fridge in here. Does anyone have work experience ideas? No, can't say I do, man. Depends on where you are. If you're where I am, you'll find basically nothing. But if you're in the States, hell, man, that's the land of opportunity. I'm sure there's heaps of ideas. So, yeah, let me just straighten this one out. So now I gotta pick an A number, which will be the amount of the amount of FOV to add. Now I could just type in a number. I could just type in 10, and what this should do is that whatever states I've had to be true, it should just add. Okay, so I actually might need to adjust that a little bit. It looks like. Yeah, so I think I needed to add just a bit of padding on that number because it seems to fall below the threshold very easily for whatever reason. So we will add, we'll add 50. so I can run in a straight line without the camera bobbing. So what should, just to test it, what should happen now is that in all the states I've made, it should like expand the camera by 20 FOV, like this, which is cool. But the thing is, I want to control how much to zoom out per state, which I can't do right now. I've just set it to 20 in any state. So if I'm going beyond my max speed at any state, it just adds 20 to the FOV. So you can see there, I don't know if you guys saw, but when I start exceeding my max speed and if I start running up this hill, the camera zooms back in. I also might need to adjust the intent speed, now that I think about it as well. So that's going to have to be something. But you see, yeah, when I start running down the hill, the FOV increases. Let me go over to this hill and do it. Yeah, watch this. When I start running down, yeah, the FOV widens. And if I stop moving, the FOV goes back. And if I start running, well, yeah, I won't gain because of friction. I won't, because I got working friction now, so I won't slide as fast down these lesser steep hills. But if I went down this other one, boom, wide FOV. I think, yeah, there are, I'm trying to think what game does that. I know that there's a game I play that does this effect, and I was like, hey, that feels good. I'll do that. Where it's like you slide and the FOV just goes. It's, yeah, it just seems to do it when I slide like this though, so I might have to adjust that. Do I actually, wait, hold on, let me check. Do I have a, yeah, I do have a sliding state, and it is, okay. Well, I might have to adjust the max slide speed to be like plus, or maybe like I'll multiply it instead, because I think it was around ×2 times float. So we'll do ×2 of that. So then, okay, well that's still kind of, maybe ×4. Because the max, because it's like adding on, oh! I know why, it's I need to add my velocity, whatever I am currently, to this, I think. Or maybe not, actually. Maybe, no, that can't be right. It would have to be saved max walk speed. Yeah, so I have to add that, I think. Because it's, when I slide, the velocity isn't replacing now, it's adding. And I might need to add a little bit of extra padding there too, maybe, like, yeah, that's more like it. Because I want the normal slide to have the camera basically be steady, but when I do slide it, I have that extra momentum. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right there. Yeah, what you guys just saw. That's what I'm talking about. So, slide, and then when you go down a hill, it's like, yeah, cool. All right, so now I'll see if I can just. What time is it? Maybe I should. No, you know what? I'm gonna finish this little bit, and then I'll call it. There's a math node, says IT Dandy. What do you mean? Hold on, how do you mean a math node? There's the math node. There's the math node? You don't mean these things, do you? Or is there a different math node? I don't know, now I'm confused. Maybe I've been doing this wrong. Oh, you do mean these. Okay. Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, maths. Oh, wait, hold on. You mean something else? Not those. Oh, wait. No, I know what you mean. I completely forgot these existed. Math expression. No. Okay, my Chrome is glitching. My Chrome is... I can't see anything on my Chrome window. I know you guys can, but my graphics card is the problems. It's the problem that the editor has, except when I put a Chrome window over it, it makes it worse. Oh. Yeah, no, oh my god, I forgot about these. Yeah, you know, I could probably use these, but I'd have to then go back and clean stuff, and... I'm sure if, yeah, I'll use these at some point if I remember. But yeah, thanks for reminding me. Thanks for reminding me that I'm inadequate and that my code is not using math expression nodes. No, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, I don't know if it's a graphics card problem. All I know is that it started happening after I upgraded my GPU. But I don't know if that was the one factor that made it weird like that. I don't know. It works on, oh no, actually no, I think I know why. Because I have two screens. It has something to do with the fact that I'm using two screens. Because when I put this on my other monitor, it works. Like the menus show up. But if I put it on this monitor, it doesn't. It turns invisible. So it's something to do with the... I don't know. It's weird. Hopefully 4.26 fixes it. hopefully. But yeah, I haven't found that many other... I found like one person that has this problem, but no one has a solution. I've tried the recommended stuff of like changing the NVIDIA graphics driver to Studio, but that didn't help. So yeah. But yeah, no, thanks for showing me that. I totally forgot about math expression nodes. There's actually kind of probably would have come in handy for the momentum system. And I'm tempted to go back and replace the math I did there with those, but I don't want to break it, so I'm not going to touch it. Because if I try to improve it, I guarantee you it's going to break. So we're not going to touch that, but next time I'll consider it. I'll know. Hold on, yeah, because I'm having that problem. I got to restart the editor again because my menus are all vanishing. Yep, never touch what works. That's right. That's the way. Oh, Kira, man, thanks for sticking around. Oh, Nils, you're here. Good to see you. Haven't seen your name pop up in a wee bit. Maybe you have been here recently, and maybe I didn't notice, but I am noticing now. All right, let's crunch through this last bit, and then I'm gonna. Oh, it's like almost 10. That's the thing, right? Is that now that I'm streaming at this time, now that I'm trying out this time, I kind of have to actually like I can't go on streaming for like 10 hours straight because I have to sleep. So we'll get through this, and then it's time for me to watch a show and try and forget it about this existing, and then I'll be able to sleep after that. Well, maybe. So A needs to be dependent on. Let me try and think. So we'll check in the same order as we did before. So we check this state. What I might actually move all this down. So check, and if that is true, then we're going to pick I'll make a list of variables. We'll make some floats. And we'll call this FO, I'm trying to think of a naming convention, because I'm going to make it like this will be maybe 6 or 7 floats that determine how much to widen the FOV depending on whether we are exceeding the max movement. So I'll do maybe like max, let me think, max FOV surface traversal. And then we'll do another. I'll put in tooltips later. I'll do that in a sec. Then max FOV. What's up after? We'll do surface traversal forward. And then this one side, of course. I'll make another. Call this max FOV. What comes after surface traversal? Grinding. And then what comes after that? Max FOV. Wait, I forgot sliding. Yeah, sliding and then grinding. And then max FOV walking. And I know I've got one for crouching too, but I'm going to use the same FOV for walking and crouching. But for sliding, it's going to be a bit more, and then maybe for grinding a bit less, and yeah, we'll experiment. So if that is that, we will then use this, and I'll make these all instance editable too, so we can change this per character. Did that drag in? There we go. So we'll select A, we'll use this amount. And then if... gotta think... Here's a question, right? FOV, or field of view. When you increase it, I want to know, like, if let's say you're programming this, do you add to FOV, like, let's say you had a sprint, you know how, like, every game from 2012 would widen the FOV when you'd sprint, right? Like Skyrim, Borderlands and stuff. So if you were to zoom the camera out, would you multiply the existing FOV by, like, 1.6, or would you add, like, 20 degrees? Which would you do? And you might say, well, Ray, there's no difference because you're just adding it. But it's like the difference will come in if you have like an FOV slider in the game, because multiplying the FOV will exaggerate the zoom, but then adding to it will keep the consistent amount of zoom no matter what FOV you're at. It's just it'll be less noticeable at high FOV. So I don't know, which do people do normally? Because I'm just adding to the FOV. I do have an option to multiply it, but I don't use that very often. Danny would go for a fixed value? Yeah, I was thinking maybe the same. Nils Holmes says, you always streamed at 2 a.m. normally. I think that was like me, well, for 2, it would have been like 2 p.m. for me, I think. But yeah, so no, so I'm trying out some new stream times just to sort of feel the waters. I think this time seems to be a good time though, but I don't know, like, because I'm thinking to do it, I'm still going to pick a day, because I want to do 2 sessions in a day. I want to do one at this session, and then one earlier at 4 a.m. UTC, which translates to 2 p.m. for me, and I think it's like 9 p.m. for the West Coast, I think. I don't know, I have to double check. But I want to try and do 2 slots in a day. But the day, of course, is what I'm trying to pick. So this, I just happen to be doing it Monday to this time because I felt like it. But I think next week I might do it on a Wednesday. So I don't know. I don't know if that's like a terrible idea or yeah, sure, go for it sort of idea. So, but if Wednesday, then yeah, Monday still works fine. Because I've tried to readjust my schedule a bit. I'm trying to do this thing called, it's called like the 3-day work week, which maybe it's not what it's called because that sounds a bit misleading. But what I'm doing is I'm switching Saturday and Thursday around because I'm trying to actually take an effort to take weekends off now. But instead of taking Saturday, Sunday as weekends, I'm taking Thursday and Sunday as weekends instead. And the reason is because I have a theory that I want to test, and that is that I might get less burned out and less tired if instead of having 5 consecutive work days and then 2 days rest, I have 3 consecutive work days and then 1 day rest, and then 2 consecutive work days and then 1 day rest, and then 3, and then it just repeats. So that way I'm not working consecutively more than 3 days straight, but then I'm still getting a day off. Because like I think everyone, when they're working for an extended period, like, you know, when you have a weekend, like Saturday, right? You're still tired from the day before Saturday. And then on Sunday, you have the dread of, I have to go to work the next morning sort of thing. So I feel like maybe a way to avoid that, because during the week, if you just randomly get a day off, it feels really different to a weekend, right? Because you don't feel as tired, you appreciate it much more. So I'm trying to engineer that into my week and have it so that I'm taking 1 day off at, like, there's just consecutive, like 3 days working, 1 day off, 2 days working, 1 day off, and then just repeat, just to see how that flows. So granted, it's made me reconsider what days I stream as well, because I used to stream Mondays, well, like normally, but then, you know, to adjust for time zone, it'd be Sunday, and Sundays is like, well, do I want to have Sunday off or not? So I don't know. I think Wednesday, I'm thinking, might be a good day, because that's at that time of week, I'm just about to have time off the next day. So it's like time for me to wrap stuff up and whatever, but experimenting, we'll see. CP Grey had a video. Maybe that's right. I don't know. I think I saw it in, I don't know who made the video, but I did watch a video talking about that concept, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll give it a shot. So, yeah. But yeah, alright. Well, anyway, back to FOV. Enough of me talking about my schedule. Because I want to get this done before... I'm not going to get it done before 10. Maybe before 10:05. We'll try. So I've got the variables now. Let's do it. So what am I testing? Okay, so this is if that is true. And let me I'll align these together. So I want to try and get the flow to kind of follow down in these empty bits here. That's the idea. Let me think. Maybe that should go up here. And then, yeah, alright, let me think. So, that. Well, no, hold on. That should be over here. Yeah, there we go. That way it's all lined up. And then that should go there, and then A is now this one. So put A there. Perfect. And then B, we'll select another float. And then this will be, which one will this be? Oh wait, hold on, I forgot something. I forgot this little dude. Gotta put him here. Alright, now, yep. So then the next one, I think that's sliding, yep. What is A? A is, yeah, so that's A, and B. I didn't miss any crate redeems, did I? I don't think so. Don't think so. Hopefully not. If I did, let me know. I don't, but I just quickly scrolled through it. I don't think I did. What happened while you were gone? You know, just chatting. I'm now putting in precise control over how much FOV to add to the camera based on what state we're in, and then that's what I'm going to call it. Oh, you sneaky. Redeeming trivia right at the last minute. Okay. I'm thinking I might change it back to Gabby trivia soon because I've had some time to think of more things, but I don't know. I can't think of anything right now. Raymond trivia. Let me think. That's something that I really should have like a hat I should pull out of stuff. What haven't I said before yet? Oh, here's one I don't think I've said before. For Raymond trivia, my favorite musical artist is Adam Young. And if you don't know who that is, you might recognize him from the very popular song from the 2000s called Fireflies. And the thing that I find interesting about the dude is not only is Fireflies the best song ever, but he also does more than just his Our City project, and he has so many interesting projects like that hardly anyone's heard of, and it's freaking fantastic. I get a lot of inspiration from it. So yeah, there's some trivia. There's some trivia about me. My favorite musical artist, Adam Young. I actually wonder, I very much doubt anyone probably knows what I'm talking about, but like, I'm curious if anyone here actually knows about some of those projects, like his other musical stuff, besides Fireflies. I know everyone's heard of Fireflies, but I'm like, has anyone heard of Sky Sailing? Has anyone heard of Port Blue? Has anyone heard of Color Therapy? Has anyone heard of Dolphin Park? Has anyone heard of Windsor Airlift? Has anyone, like, I don't know. I'm curious how many people know about those projects. Well, yeah, Hex, of course you know about them. Of course, yeah. But anyone that's not Hex knows about them. No? Well, you should, dude, check that. Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what your tastes are, but I think he has a very broad portfolio to offer. If you want something that's easy listening, that is kind of, anyone can kind of get into it, I recommend his Port Blue project. I think that's like his second most popular one as well, by coincidence. So yeah, check out his Port Blue. The thing is as well about these, that's so interesting, is that he's got music under these projects, but then also within these, so there's Our City, then there's his other projects, and then within those projects there is also like hidden music in those as well. Because you got like these songs, like the Airship album, which is like he's released, but then there's a lot of unreleased music under these projects as well that people will circulate. So it's like a whole iceberg of content. Actually, I wonder if someone's made that. Hold on. The Our City iceberg. I wonder if someone's already made something like that. What's this? Okay, yeah, this is kind of like what I was thinking. Except a lot of this stuff is really periphery. Okay, I think this is more of a meme one. But there's like, you could actually make an iceberg with all of the content he's got. Some of the stuff that, I think this is all just like memes. Still funny though. But anyway, yeah, he's got like, dude, it's good stuff, man, I'm telling you. I'd play it on stream if it wasn't copyrighted. But you'd check it out, please. Or if you want something a lot of people like very orchestral music, I find. I'm not a huge fan of orchestral music, but because every time someone, like, if I'm talking about soundtrack, there's always someone who comes in and is like, oh, Ray, you should do orchestral music. And it's like, yeah, no. But if you do like orchestral music, he also does that. And I know it's crazy. Imagine the guy making Fireflies, making, like, orchestral scores. The cool thing about this, too, is that the score project I'm talking about here, he made, how many albums? Like, 10 albums worth of stuff in a year. Which is, like, I don't, like, how is, like, what? I know, it's crazy. Hold on. I think AdamYoungMusic.com is his website, and it'll show all of them here. I think this is his website. Oh, this looks different. This is not his website. Maybe it's just A Young Music. Oh no, it's Adam Young Scores. That's it. Oh. Maybe it's A Young Scores. Maybe the website's gone. I hope it's not. Yeah, here we go. Yes. So imagine like you as a musician, and you like, let's click on one of these. And he's got how many songs? Like 11 songs. Now, not all of them are 11 songs. Some are 7, some are 11, some are 12. But that's like an album's worth. And imagine making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 of those in 1 year. So that's like every month you're putting out one of these. Like, I remember when he was doing this, I was following this in 2016. And I was just like, oh my God, like, that's crazy, dude. So yeah, it's cool. And this is all from the guy who made Fireflies. This is like, this is the iceberg of content. So you should check it out. And if orchestral's not your jam, there's Port Blue. And there's also his like, there's more somehow. I think there's like a wiki on it. I'm sure there's got to be a wiki on it. But there's lots of stuff. It covers like every genre you could think. So I don't know. I think it's cool. Everyone's homework is to listen to... Yes, my mods got it. Everyone's homework is to listen to Port Blue. He was doing... Okay, what year was he doing? I think he started doing Port Blue in 06, I think. It was while he was starting to... I think it was before Our City, actually. I remember I've read through his wiki like 100 times, and I'm pretty sure Port Blue was first, and then Our City, it was in 07. But then he started doing more Port Blue stuff in like 2012, but then he didn't release anything. I think he would release snippets on his MySpace page, and that's all that exists. Hold on, I'm gonna get super distracted with the Our City lore. I gotta remember what I'm doing with this node. Give me a second. But yeah, it's your homework, guys. Listen to Port Blue. It's actually really good for homework. Like if you have homework, his Airship album is like, oh, it's perfect. It's actually there's a homework edit that someone made of one of his songs. It's like one of my favorites. I used to listen to this all the time. It was from his Aerial Promenade. Was it called Aerial Promenade? I can't remember what it was called. Or it was Seagull. I think it was Seagull Orchestra. Or, well, I can't remember. I don't know if that was the name of the song or the name of the... I think Seagull Orchestra was the name of the project. There's like a homework. Okay, maybe it was not Seagull. Oh no, it was Seagull Orchestra. But there was like a in-flight homework edit. This is the one. But the video I'm looking for has been removed. But basically, someone made like the song Seagull Orchestra in Flight, another one of his projects, and then someone made like a 1-hour mix of it, and I was just listening to that while doing homework, and it was like so soothing. It's actually good for falling asleep too. It's good music for falling asleep. Anyway, sorry. Enough geeking out about Our City. I know I tend to do that from time to time. But it's good. You gotta listen to it as your homework. You gotta do it. Otherwise, don't come back here. Don't come back to my stream unless you listen. That's the condition. But yeah, I think Port Blue started in 06, and then I think, because a lot of people say that Color Therapy sounds kind of similar, and I think he did Color Therapy in late, I think it was like after he did All Things Bright and Beautiful, so that would have been like 2012, 2013, I think, leading up to when he released Ultraviolet. So anyway, yeah, sorry, I'm geeking out, but it's cool, okay, I like it. But yeah, he's probably the one artist I've seen who has like kind of the most impressive portfolio I've seen, but like no one's heard of it. And I'm like, how? How has no one heard of this? This is crazy. So yeah, that's some trivia about me. That's like, I think he's, yeah, definitely my favorite musical artist by a long shot. What did I have to put here? Grinding. Oh yeah, so I had to put this there. And then after his grinding, yeah, then it's just this stuff, eh? Which will be, check if we're crouching. Actually, well, yeah, no, that won't matter, will it? Because we don't need to check whether we're crouching. So we'll just do walking, FOV. So what should happen now with this code? Sorry for the huge LCD tangent, by the way, but what this code will do is you won't see any change in the FOV because it's all set to 0. So if I go to if I then go to those variables that I have made, and I should really put them, I'll put them in the camera category. I'll put them at the bottom. I've also, by the way, for those who have been following the project for a bit, I've changed the anime speedline effect. I've toned it down a lot and I've adjusted it so it's way less jarring. So I don't think anyone noticed, but you'll notice when it's not jarring. That's how you'll know. Good design is visible. So you'll notice that the speed lines aren't here when I run, but if I like started moving really fast, they would slowly fade in. I've got like a fade on them now. Like here, you see the anime speed lines? And then if I stop moving, they fade out. They don't just abruptly stop like they used to. So that's something else I've done recently. Okay, so let's set some FOV values. So for the service trailer, let's do like 50 for the side wall run, just to experiment. I'm not sure if, actually, we might not be able to test that because I don't have any momentum on that system yet. So we'll leave that at 0, or yeah, maybe 15. Then the surface traversal forward, we can't really test that either, so we'll leave that at 0. FOV sliding, we'll change that to 50, just to test. FOV grinding, I can't test right now because grinding's broken. And then walking, we'll do 10. So let's give that a go. So what should happen now is that if I start running faster than I normally should run, the camera should zoom out a little bit. But then if I slide faster than I normally, it should zoom out a lot. Just as a test. Okay, so we're zoomed out by 10. That seems appropriate. But if we slide, it should really zoom out when we start sliding. So if I start sliding, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So now I could set different amounts of FOV to scale it to, depending on what movement state I'm in. So that's cool. So I think though for the slide, it's a bit much. I think we should tone it down. Maybe we'll do 15. But I think what would be cool as well is if we could adjust it depending on how far over speed we are. That would be cool. So it works up to that value instead of setting to that value straight away. I'm just wondering how I do that. Maybe like in range? I don't know if that will allow me to do it. Maybe not. Maybe like a lerp. Then maybe I have to check like in range, or like normalize to range and have the alpha be if that's in between like that. I don't know. This maybe will work. Because I want it to kind of trying to think. So what I want as well, that would be cool, is that if I'm sliding, let's say, and then I'm exceeding my max speed, instead of instantly going, like the minute we're over speed, we're going too fast, instead of going immediately to the full FOV, I want it to like smooth. Like if we're going a little bit over speed, it only goes a little bit open. But if we're going like full, really over speed, then it like, you know, the FOV goes boom like that. So I'm thinking it'd be cool if we could like have a lerp the value between its min and max depending on something. I don't know if this will do it, but I just want to quickly try it. If I can't figure out in like 2 minutes, then I'll just do it next time. Oh, whoa, okay, that was, yeah, nope, not that way. No. The game, I broke the camera. Oh no, please don't crash, please. Oh no, I think, no, it's froze. Okay, whew. It just took a while, but it's fine. Okay, didn't freeze. Thank goodness, I am saving that. Oh, okay, so this won't work. Oh, it's because, that's why. So we need to normalize to maximum, and then the minimum is like that. I actually, I don't know if this'll do anything. Okay, no. There's got to be a way I can do that, right? Where it like determines how far over, and if it's only a little bit further over speed, then it only adds a little bit of extra FOV. But then if it's like up to like plus 50 over speed or plus 100, then it adds the full amount. I know there's got to be some range that I can use for that. That has to be. Right? I'm sure there is. Oh, hi, Joe. Says, love your game. I don't want to get bored if the mechanics, so I'm going to wait till full release. Well, hey, if you want the fresh experience, hell, I appreciate and respect that. That's cool. Although, let me think. So, I might put out something soon, build-wise. Haven't decided, but I might to test this movement. And I appreciate, if I do decide to do that, I'd appreciate feedback on the movement. If I decide to do that with the momentum system. There might be reasons why I might not, and I won't go into that at the moment, but yeah. But hey, if people, the fact that people even play this game, dude, at the moment, it's like, why? it's like barely finished, but hey, people still play it, so it's like, well, I guess I'm doing something right. But nah, I appreciate that there's people even wanting to wait till it comes out. That's pretty crazy. It must mean you really want to enjoy it. It sounds like that's cool. So okay, so this lerp node is definitely not working. Because I want it to lerp between like this. Okay, so it's just the alpha of this. I want it to go between this and this, depending on a blend amount. Maybe let me type in blend. Interp. Maybe interp is what I'm looking for too. F interp. Current target delta time. No, that's not what I want. I think lerp is what I want, but the alpha is like, I gotta figure out the right kind of number to feed into alpha for it to know how to do this thing. Oh no, it would have something to do with my speed, wouldn't it? I'll check if my speed is in range to it. No, not in range. It's map range maybe, or normalize to range. I think. I thought this would be it. No, maybe not. Maybe it is map to range. So in range, out range. Let me think. Because it needs to output to 0 to... So maybe the other thing I had, that is correct, maybe. Actually, no, that needs to be 0. That A needs to be 0. And then B... Range minimum... Oh, let me think. Range minimum would be that, and then the max would be like that plus whatever that number is, maybe. The extra. I don't know, maybe. Okay, well that doesn't seem to do anything. Well, we'll do in like doing that number. Maybe like that number. Because what I essentially, hold on. Because what I want to be able to measure, so maybe I'll change this to 4,000 instead. Because I want it to like zoom out and then be able to zoom out even more if I'm going even faster, you know? So let's see what happens. If I slide down, the camera should keep zooming out more and more as the faster I go, but it doesn't seem to do that. Okay. Maybe this idea won't work. Maybe I have to think about it. Oh, thanks, Joe. Dude, thanks. Like, honestly, I don't thank you guys enough for the encouragement I get. It's weird. Like, I don't think people realize how positive that is. Just like any bit of encouragement, even a little bit, it helps quite a lot. It goes a long way. So thanks. I'm kind of like always perpetually in disbelief that this is good. Like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he'll be out. He knows I always overthink everything, but it's like I was like telling I was like, dude, because I'm trying to talk to him about like what I want to do with the game and stuff. And I don't know, I find it I just can't accept when people say this is fun. There's a bit of me that just wants to disagree and say no. It probably isn't. Like, why wouldn't it? Like, I don't know. I just have this thing where I just can't accept that maybe it is good. I don't know. Maybe it is. But I find it hard to believe. Because I know that I'm going to have a bias, right? Because I made it. And I don't know, maybe I'm compensating too much for that bias. Because I automatically want to not like what I make because I know that if I do like it, then there's a chance it's a bias. So that must mean if I don't like it, then I'm not biased. But then how do I know if it's actually good? I don't know. It's something I'm always struggling with. But the closest objective thing I could probably get is whether other people think it's good. And it's like, oh, well, that's cool. Maybe I'm being too rough. Maybe I don't need to worry. But no, I appreciate the support. It encourages me a lot. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe this normalized to range, maybe this isn't going to work the way I think it will. Because I want... Well, no, this needs to output to 0 and 1. Range minimum, okay. But how does it know? I don't know. Because if oh yeah, okay, so that's not gonna work. I think it's like maybe map to range is like what I'm looking for. So the in range would be like, the value would be that. The in range would be this, and then the out range would, I'll do it to like 4,000, and then we map it to 0 to 1, and then we put that in. Maybe that will do something. I don't know. We'll try. I think. Oh, I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but I thought I saw something. Oh, I can't quite tell. I need to turn off like screen shake and stuff so I can see it. And I'll print the FOV as well, just so I can know if there's an actual change. Where's the camera? So we'll print. Well, I just want to see if it actually does what I want. So it's at 54. It seems to be fluctuating slightly, which is cool. It's going up. So it is zooming a little. It's just very subtle. So maybe I'll have to down that range to like 1,000 instead. See how that goes. I don't know. We'll just try and stuff. That it's starting to feel a bit more like what I want, but also not. Yeah, that didn't. FOV didn't change there really. Because it's basically clamping these two numbers and clamping it to 0 to 1. Like, what would this be on a scale from 0 to 1, and then apply to that? So the in range would be the maximum speed normally, and if that's 0, okay, maybe that won't. Oh, no. Okay, so maybe it's like, maybe I put that there, and then maybe I add some other number to this, because that's going to also change, right? So maybe I'll add like 400 to that number. Oh wait, no, that goes there, and that goes there. All right, no, I'm just trying stuff. I'm very curious to see if this can work. If not, I'll probably work on it like tomorrow or something. But no, I had something there that felt kind of good. So the FOV is like 64, and then it goes. Yeah, this is getting close to what I want. I need a really steep hill, because the camera's like it's like zooming out a little depending on how far over speed. So if we're going a lot over speed, it zooms out more. That's what should happen. Yeah, now we're at 70 FOV. But if we're running here now, it's at 60. And then it's it's very gradual though. Maybe it's too gradual. So maybe if I make this number lower, I don't know if it exaggerates the FOV. I don't know. I can't quite tell. I think it does. So the lower I have that number, I think it has a greater bias towards the max FOV when I'm going over speed. But it's, maybe I need to, just to test it, I need to increase for sliding, I'll increase the max FOV to 40, just to test. And we'll see. So if I like go down this hill, okay, well that goes to 40 very quick, so maybe we'll change that to like 600. Because I don't want it to go all the way out. It's just when I'm going really, really fast, then I want it to go all the way out to 40. So we'll try that. So if I go down this hill, okay, that was at 90 FOV. And what did we get this time? 90, 95, almost 90. And then when we're going this fast, it's 60. Okay, yeah, this is more like it, yeah. Except that slide FOV is like really, really wide. So let's test. I think there's a level I could, because this level has a lot of downhill slopes, so I could test it here. Yeah, you see, you see that? You see that? So it is working. Okay, cool. I didn't think I'd actually get it working, but yeah, it does the thing. So if I start sliding down here, see how it's like, it's not going straight to the max FOV, but it's slowly getting more and more and more and more zoomed out. That's what I wanted. Yeah, and then there's a maximum, and then yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll need to strengthen the speed lines a little bit for this, because I feel like I should have speed lines when I'm going over speed. That's what I'm gonna call it. When I have like extra momentum, I in my head I'm thinking over budget, but it's not a budget, it's speed, so it's over speed. So over speed is the excess speed. That's what I'm calling it. I'm trademarking that mechanic. Overspeed, baby. It's like overshield in Halo, but you get speed instead of shields. And that's like, yeah. Overspeed. Okay, so going uphill you won't see it, but if we go downhill. Yeah, so, okay. Ignore that error. That's just because I'm using BSP for that level. Not important. But, that works. I just need to adjust the value slightly, so might as well do that while I'm here. Are there any plans for a narrative? There are plans, but I can't tell you them. I know, everyone wants to know, everyone wants to be like, Ray, what are you doing with the story? I talked about the story like very early in development, and I regret doing that, because whatever I said in my second devlog episode is not what I'm doing now, but I'm doing something, but I can't tell you. But there's something being planned. That's all I can say. I know, I wish I could talk about it too. There's so much cool shit, like, I wish, but I can't. Not right now. That's all I can say. So, you'll have to just sit tight and keep following me and see where it goes. But, look, I'm not going to try and hype it up either, because I've done some work. I haven't done all the work I need to. I haven't finalized it. But I definitely have... All I can say is that I have an idea of where I want it to go a lot more than I did at the beginning. I've kind of come over that hurdle where it's like, okay, I know what I want this to be now. And that's it. So it's not really much. Like, don't treat that as, oh, like, wow, don't get excited. Like, it's just me deciding that, oh, okay, I want to take it this direction. But I haven't really done much work towards actually developing content for it. So just being transparent, because I've got other priorities than the story right now, but I'm sure soon it's going to start coming into focus. But I want to try and do some work this year on it. That's like my goal. But again, that's just my personal goal. If it doesn't happen for that at that time, then there's a reason. And if I don't talk about it, there's a reason. So, yeah. But I'm working. It is in the works, but it's not. It's like it's planning. It's not in the works, but the planning is. It's being planned, I should say, which maybe counts as work. I don't know. Maybe it does. There's like been a teensy bit of pre-production on it. Yeah. But no, I know. I would be curious too if I was in your shoes. I'd be very curious. But yeah, you got to keep some stuff in the bag. So let me think for So let me I need to make another float. We'll call this max FOV scale. And we'll set that. I think 400 was a good number, so we'll keep it at 400. And this will be that number I've hard coded. That'll be this number. Actually, no, I had it. Well, 400 should be fine still. And I'll keep that in for now. I hate when the nodes like bunch up like that too. I don't know why the editor does that, but it does. Okay, I'll worry about cleaning all of it up later because I'm getting tired. But that should be. I think I just wanted to adjust some variables, and I think that was it. So let's do that. So sliding, we'll make that 25. Walking or running, whatever, we'll make that 15. Grinding, we'll make that 20. We'll make that 15. Actually, we'll make that 25. I'm just picking multiples of 5 at the moment. Slide, we'll pick. This way. We'll pick 15 for that. Yeah, but I might adjust this. I don't know. Let's compile and save that and see if the variables do what I want. Oh yeah, I've also fixed the crouch thing that I was trying to do last time. Toggle crouch actually works properly now. Where it's like if I hit toggle crouch while I'm sliding, it'll wait a little bit and then uncrouch me, so it doesn't just do it immediately. So if I'm sliding, like if I'm crouching normally, which you can see by the camera moving down, I don't have a crouch animation yet, but that's toggle crouch, I can spam it, but if you're sliding, you can't spam it. Like, I'm pressing and releasing it instantly, and she'll slide for like 0.2 seconds. And then if I hit toggle crouch, and if I hit slide, she'll automatically stand up afterwards, which I might not have, because I actually want to have an option where it's like, maybe it'd be a better idea so that if you toggle crouch and you come out of a crouch, that you're still staying crouched, and maybe it requires a bit of extra precision for the player to hit uncrouch at the right time using toggle crouch to get that full speed boost. So maybe I'll play around with that. But with the toggle crouch, if you hold crouch down the whole time, you'll stay crouched, which is cool. So yeah, something else I fixed. I know I was having a headache with it last time. I don't know why, but I did. But it works now. So now, yeah, you can. Oh, that was weird. Wait. I need to take off a number somewhere. Yeah, so I need to remove this 20 plus 20 thing. Oh, I can't, the menus are vanishing again. No. How do I? Okay, there we go. I just guess where it is on the screen and then click it. I know you guys can see that fine, but the graphics card glitch strikes me once again. So now you see. So the cool thing about this thing is that there's like a kind of a visual language to when you're moving faster. Because it's one thing to read a number on a speedometer, like I'm looking, right? Like let's say I turn all that off for a sec, and I go to my test level and I run down a hill. Oh wait, why did that not turn off? Hold on. Oh yeah. So watch this. So if I run down this hill, I'm going faster than I normally would, but it doesn't feel like I am, right? Well, now it's gone back to normal speed. But if I like right here, I'm actually going 5 kilometers an hour faster than normal, but it doesn't feel like I am. But if I add that thing, if I add the FOV change, and I've had some camera shake, add the speed lines. Oh wait, maybe that's why the speed lines were so faint, because I didn't have them turned on. But if I add that all back in and do the same thing, watch this. See how the FOV goes out a bit? Now it feels like, oh yeah, now I'm going faster. And then it goes, yeah. So that, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And if I slide, look how this feels. Whee! That's fun. So that's all the code. I'm going to clean that up a bit later, but I did want to just quickly modify the parameters slightly. But I just got to check on Gabby's blueprint. Gabby, player pawn. So I should be able to open her blueprint and then navigate, because these variables will show up here now. So that's on. I don't think I'll need to change a lot of those values. Yeah. What was I gonna? Oh yeah, I was just gonna check the speed lines sensitivity. Okay, so those are all at their default. So I'll just change the defaults to be something else. So speed lines weight. I forgot what these do exactly, but if I set that to 5, what'll happen? Because I kind of want them to come in a little bit here, right? But oh wait, I forgot what number I modified. Okay. So speed lines, gradient intensity. Okay, so weight. Okay, so I'll set those both to 1. So now I've got a bit of speed lines coming in. But yeah, this is, you can sort of start seeing them now. So then if I start gaining lots of momentum. So yeah, you'll notice that the camera zooms back in for the wall ride because I don't have any excess momentum programmed on that yet. So yeah, now there's a lot of speed lines. I don't know if that's too much. Maybe the gradient, I'll set that back to 7.5 because that's the amount it moves inwards. So I can keep it closer to the edges with that number. I think that's what it does. But I want the speed lines there. Why are they not? Maybe I gotta change the interp speed. Yeah, I'll change that to the interp speed to like 5. Because oh yeah, that's much better. So maybe we'll change that to 2 and we'll keep the weight at 1. Because yeah, they're just taking like 0.5, which is super slow. That's why they take forever to load in. But yeah, there's the speed lines. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's do that again. Let's go this scene. Oh, if I make it, I want to make them as visible as possible, so I'll turn off the textures and watch this. Yeah, baby, speed lines. Yeah, let's try that again. That was fun. Whee! There we go. Let's go to the long hill. Let's go this one. Yeah. So then, if I then change the number, what was that number I programmed in here? It was like the FOV sensitivity. I forgot what I called that. Oh yeah, FOV. What did I call it? FOV scale? That can't be. No, I didn't name it that, did I? No. What did I call that? Hold on. Did I even set that variable? Oh yeah. So I didn't even set that variable. Go figure. So FOV scale, we'll make that like 500 maybe. So then we'll go here and we'll see, because it should be a bit more yeah, it's more gradual now. There we go. All right, well, I think that'll be it. That's all I kind of wanted to do, and I went like an hour over time, but I don't care, so. Oh, hold on, I missed some questions. Oh, hey, Mufaya, you joined last minute. Good to see you, though. Do you plan to sell the final product on Steam or another games platform? Or are you going to keep it independent? All right, well, yeah, Hex, you are correct. Steam, having it on Steam does not affect its eligibility as an indie game. Will I release it on Steam though? I can't say yet. I think it's on I have an FAQ of that on my website because people ask me that a lot, and I can't say right now. I don't know. Yeah. I'd like to say what I'm thinking, but that I can't promise. So I might as well not say anything. But it's definitely going to be somewhere. Whether it's on Steam or what, I haven't decided yet. And I haven't decided yet because it's not a terribly urgent decision right now. So it's something I might decide when alpha is happening, probably, or at the end of pre-alpha, which is soon, is when I'll decide. But you probably, even if I do decide, you won't see the fruits of that decision probably until a long time after I've made the decision. So yeah, I don't know yet. But I don't see myself making my own storefront, if that's what you mean. Because the infrastructure, like, dude, it could get hacked. Like, it's just not safe, I don't think. Unless I spontaneously develop super strong back-end web dev skills, then no. Because, yeah, I don't know how to program a game store, so I'd rather, like, put it on a game store that's programmed already. What game store, though? Can't say, but I'm probably not going to do my own one. But yeah, no, it wouldn't necessarily affect its eligibility as an indie game. It's funny, actually, a lot of people not misdiagnose. That's not the word I'm looking for. They mislabel what an indie game is, because there was someone who asked me something recently, and it was like, it was something about, like, like, if it's an indie game, I think someone said it was something along the lines of, I just realized that if it's an indie game, it means he doesn't have to work alone. And it's like, being, like, team size isn't necessarily a factor when you actually look at what the definition of indie game is. An indie game is a game that has no publisher and is published independently. That's actually what that means. It actually has nothing to do with team size or storefront, what you put it on, or anything like that. It's purely whether or not someone else published it for you. Because if someone else published it for you, it would make you dependent on the publisher, meaning you are no longer independent. But if you published it yourself, then you have developed the game independently, because you don't have to rely on the publisher, because you are the publisher. So yeah, you could have a team of 50, a team of 20, a team of 1. If you don't have a publisher, by definition, it's indie, but most people don't use that definition. It's just like, if they're more than, 10 people, then it's not indie, which is not true. So yeah. The actual definition of independent is purely in relation to publishing, from what I've managed to gather. So yeah. But yeah, like, I don't think I do my own storefront, if that's what you're asking, because it's like so much work that I could just not do. Like, I could, like, it's like the options. It's like, you can make your own storefront, and then you just imagine JonTron coming in the back of my room, like opening my door and being like, but why? Why would you do that? So yeah, I don't really, it's just going to be more work, more effort, more money, and it's like, hey, here's an idea, I could not do that, and I could still sell the game. Whoa. So yeah. But if you mean in relation to a publisher, though, like, I can't really say yet either, I don't know. I'm not actively looking for one, if that's any consolation. Because, like, publishing can be weird, depending on who you go to, and I don't have, like, I don't know, there's definitely, like, I'm not excited to dive into getting a publisher because whatever reason. Like, I really want to think about it if that's what I decide to do. Like, I really want to think it and go, is this actually a good idea? And if it is, and if I am going to do it, what do I need to look for? And I really want to do my due diligence first, because I think it can just be very, I don't know, I don't like the idea of just jumping into something, so. Oh, the general definition. Okay, well, now you know what the definition of independent is. It's just, does this person have a publisher that's funding and publishing the game? And if they do, then they're not independent, because they're dependent on publisher. And if they're not, then they're independent. So, yeah, that's basically what that is. Anyway, I think that, yeah, I'm just looking through my code. I think that's everything. Pretty sure. I think that's all I wanted to do. Sorry, yeah, it's just my brain. After like 3 hours, that's when my edge, I start losing it. I start losing efficiency points, and my brain goes like, hey, Ray, you should probably rest or something. So yeah, I think that'll be it. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming along. I can't believe we still have 50 people here, guys. What are you doing? Go do something, for Christ's sake. But no, all serious. Thanks for coming. I know this was a new stream time, and I'm super thankful for everyone who could come. I think this probably means I'm going to keep this as a time slot in my schedule, because it seems that people are actually available, so that's really cool. If you want to find out when my next stream is, follow my Twitter, which is also, I think it's up here somewhere. I've got it. So yeah, or it's in the, if you can't be bothered to type, scroll down and there'll be a link. And yeah, also join the Discord. I also like, because Twitter doesn't really give you notifications, does it? So if you want if you want to get like pinged whenever I'm about to go live, Discord is also a great way to get notified too. So yeah. I don't think there's any more questions here that need my urgent attention, so I think I'll probably head off. Yeah, Mufaya knows what's good, man. Yeah, Discord, hell yeah. I'll try and get it a bit more active, but yeah. But I only have so much time in the day. But if you guys want to chat about my game there, that's the place. In the meantime, yeah, so just follow Project on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, check when this new updates, follow the Twitch channel, because you also get notified there too. Because I'm going to be doing a lot of experimenting with scheduling, so if you want to like know exactly when I go live, that's the best way. So yeah, so thanks for everyone for coming. I'm going to tune in next time, sometime next week on a Wednesday, I think, is when I'm going to try next. So mark that in your calendars, gents. Be sure to show up for that. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, watch me work. I will catch you guys in the next installment of the Project Feline live stream. It's not really a series, it's just me live streaming. Next time. I'll see you. Bye.